Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it's Monday morning, and I have triple duty to do today. I'm having trouble with the stream getting it set up this morning. I'm sorry I lost your comments. I did see Bryce's comment about Scotty, and I will talk about that real quick. And Trevor J, I'm sorry I lost your words of wisdom. Stream just not cooperating this morning for whatever reason. There has been technical difficulties in the last 24 hours for different issues with the Raptors. So why wouldn't it carry over to me in the morning on this stream also? But yeah, triple duty. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to do that's what we're doing. We're going to have a reaction to two games yesterday. Win for the 905 in the semifinals of the Winter Showcase Tip-Off Tournament, and a loss for the Raptors against the Brooklyn Nets in an intricate mind game that's the way I'm describing it, and I'll lay it all out for you guys on today's stream. It's really crazy what happened last night in Brooklyn, and it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in the NBA. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna stand up for our guys. I'm not dumping on them. Last night was disappointing for sure, but you guys need to understand there was a huge conspiracy against them to lose that game last night. A huge conspiracy. Look, the NBA doesn't like the Raptors being successful. Let's just start off this stream this way right now. They do not like our franchise to be a top team in the league, and they are trying to hold us down in weird ways. I've used the word governing before this in this season about how you govern an engine so it won't go over a certain speed on a go-kart. You don't want your kid to wreck out on a go-kart going 90 miles an hour, right? So you govern the engine on the go-kart to not be able to go above 50 miles an hour. And well, in some ways, the Raptors are on double secret governing in the NBA. And it's evidenced by people like Boogie Cousins saying, oh, they'll never win another championship, because they know from the inside that the establishment of the NBA is holding down the Raptors franchise in different ways. And we may not even know the whole truth on how they're holding us down. You know, I have a big theory that the Raptors are not allowed to have centers, and that this issue with what we're pushing to get Bobby Webster to get another big, it's not totally in his hands, because there's some secret bullshit with the NBA that doesn't allow the Raptors to have enough bigs to compete correctly in this league. It has seemed to be a problem since Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol left after the pandemic year, that we have never had enough bigs, because there's some weird shit going on. I don't know. I mean, everything that I think, some people think I'm conspiracy theorist. Well, no, a lot of this stuff that I believe and I know came true yesterday, and was evident and right in front of our face around the Brooklyn game last night. And I'll go through it very detailed and very informatively about what I saw and why you guys should see it too. And just know that it's nefarious, it's messed up. And you know what? In some ways, that's why the fans need to not turn on the team or the players or the coach or the general manager or anybody in the Raptors franchise, because it's us against them. And if you're not with us, you're with them. And I'm going to say this right now, because honestly, we are not a team that they want to be at the top of the Eastern Conference. We are not a team that they want to win in any kind of way. They didn't want us to win the G League game yesterday, guys. They did not want David Roddy, Jarkel Joyner, Elijah Martin, Jonathan Mobo, and Andrew Jones and Chucky Hepburn to be successful yesterday. In fact, they tried to hit job us in the G League game yesterday. But we're just that badass that we're still 16-0. Sweet 16, baby. Sweet 16. And we're going to go over that game too. And we also have to preview the championship game today at 6:30 in Orlando at the Winter Showcase Tip-Off Tournament Finals. Raptors 905 versus Salt Lake City Stars, Utah Jazz's G League team. And I've got the refs and I've got their team. We can look at their roster. They got Mo Bamba, y'all. We're going to be playing Mo Bamba in the finals today, in the championship for this G League Winter Cup. So, yeah, let's do that first, because we like to look ahead, and then we'll look back at the two games that went down yesterday. One a very, very successful game, and one a dismal failure. But I want to go over why it was a dismal failure, because there's some real I mean, it's all right there. If you can see it, you'll see it. And I'll tell you exactly how it lays out. It's pillars and tiers of mind fuckery, a very intricate plan by the NBA establishment to just fuck us over in the major way. And they did it with layers. And they made sure that the Adam Silver had a goal yesterday that the Raptors had to lose to the Brooklyn Nets, and they got that done. And it was scheduled to lose to them when they came out with the schedule in August, guys. That is when they determined that they wanted the Raptors to lose on December the 21st, 2025. They wanted the Raptors to lose the Brooklyn Nets on that Sunday, no matter what. No matter what. They were going to take them down no matter what. And I'll give you all the examples, like a lawyer would in court. I'm going to exhibit A, judge. I'm here to show you exactly how I'm saying what I'm saying. I'll back it up with evidence. And I'm going to give it to you. And man, there's a ton of evidence. Oh my God. There's a ton of evidence for what I'm about to tell you all right now. But first things first, let's preview a championship game for this team. That team. That's right. This team. That team. That's right. 905, baby. Playing for the championship. 16-0 perfect. Woo-wee! Let's go and beat them, Andrew Jones, tonight. That's right. All right. So the referees for tonight's game against the Salt Lake City Stars they all have profiles. So we're going to do them. First of all, the crew chief is Brett Haskell. Brett Haskell, number 34, is from Fort Myers, Florida. He's in his 5th season as a non-staff official. His favorite TV show is I Think You Should Leave. His favorite movie is the Taylor Swift movie. He likes Taylor Swift, so he's a Swiftie. His favorite book is Catch Me If You Can. His favorite meal is Matar Paneer. His favorite app is Flighty. He most like to visit Fiji. His bucket list is an Antarctic cruise. And his hidden talent is juggling. Now, Brent Haskell with the regular Raptors has a 0-2 record. We have never won with Brent Haskell with Toronto Raptors when he has reffed an NBA game for us. But I don't have the stats on the G League. He has reffed the 905 a few times this season already. So, yeah, Brent Haskell has refereed for 6 years in college basketball with stints in the Mid-Florida, Southern Suncoast, and Sunshine State conferences. He was also a high school referee in Florida for 5 years. Yeah, so he's the crew chief. The umpire today is going to be Nate Surley, number 26. He's in his 2nd year as an NBA non-staff official. He's from Garden City, Kansas. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. His favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption. His favorite musician is Noah Kahan. His favorite book is The Other Westmore. Favorite meal, anything mom cooks. So anything his mom cooks. Favorite app, The Grint. He'd most like to visit Croatia. His bucket list is skydiving, and his hidden talent is karaoke. Yeah, Nate Searley considers his most memorable assignment to be a matchup between the Trailblazers and the Spurs in the 2023 NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, where Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs played his 2nd game since being selected 1st overall in the 2023 draft. Yeah, Nate Surley, I've seen him ref us a couple times in G League. Nothing at note. Pretty normal ref for most cases. And the 3rd ref today for the championship game is Marcy Williams. We've had Marcy Williams consistently this weekend. This will be the 3rd game she's refereed for us in the last week. She refereed the game for us against the Clippers on Friday, and she refereed a game for us last week before we came to the tip-off tournament. So we've seen Marcy quite a bit just in the last week. She's in her 2nd season out of Livingston, New Jersey. She's number 72 in the G League. Her favorite TV show is Girlfriends. She likes the movie Brown Sugar. She loves Beyonce. She's an Eckhart Tolle fan, which I have a lot of respect for right there. Her favorite meal is soul food. She likes Apple Music. She would like to visit Africa. She'd like to travel for a year, and her hidden talent is bowling. The New Jersey native has 3 years of collegiate officiating experience working in the America East, American, Big East, Colonial, Ivy League, Metro, Atlantic, Athletic, Northeast, and Patriot conferences. She also officiated high school games in New Jersey for 2 years. Williams graduated from the New Jersey Institute of Technology with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. And her interests include cycling, pickleball, and bowling. Yeah, this is in some ways I don't have stats on these refs for whether we win or not, so I can't really tell you how our stats are because I don't do the G League level ref report stats. But it seems like it's a veteran G League crew because they're all non-staff officials that actually get to ref NBA games. So just like in anything with the officials, they reward the ones that have been doing the best on their merits and how they get scored for officiating, and they give them great assignments like the final game in the Winter Showcase Cup tournament in Orlando. So I think this will be a fine team of refs to handle the game. It should be on the up and up. We'll just have to watch and make sure because the ones yesterday, Agana Bazi, Italo Arujo, you guys were a little funny, but it didn't matter. You guys can go ahead and be 8 versus 5 against Raptors 905 with Andrew Jones. They're going to beat y'all. And you know what? It's not even 8 versus 5 at a certain point. It's the association versus 5 at a certain point. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's look at the Salt Lake City Stars. And I'll go over their roster real quick. Mo Bamba is on this team, guys, with the infamous Mo Bamba. If you're wondering where he is, well, we're going to be playing him in this finals to try and win this Winter Showcase Cup. So we got to neutralize Mo Bamba. That's right. We got to deal with him. Max Abrams of Oral Roberts is a guard. They got Pedro Bradshaw out of Bellarmine. Stephen Krall of Wisconsin. Sean East out of Missouri. Justin Harmon, who went to Illinois. Elijah Harkless, that's a name I kind of recognize, UNLV. Max Klesmit, Wisconsin Badgers. Cameron McGriff, Oklahoma State. Matthew Morrell out of Mississippi. Hank Morgan of Hamilton. John Tonje of Wisconsin. And the project for the Jazz out of Kentucky, the Kentucky Wildcat, Oscar Shibwe. So, yeah, really, Mo Bamba and Oscar are the two more well-known players, along with Elijah Harkless. We'll just have to see who to watch out for. I mean, this team, this Utah G League team, is they are 14-2 so far this season with the tip-off tournament. They've won 2 in the tip-off tournament. They went 12-2 in the regular part. So they're a team that's won a lot. They've only lost 2 games so far this year. So, and they are the second seed in this tournament. We're the number 1 seed. They're the second seed. So this is a big head-to-head matchup of the very best 2 teams in the G League today. So I hope y'all will join me in the YouTube chat at 6:30 and watch this game and help root them on to victory. You know, there's been a pattern with these games in the Winter Showcase where we help them in the YouTube chat. I'm not lying. Seriously. Because what's happening is, you know, the Orlando setting of the Winter Showcase is sterile. It's a bunch of execs and scouts sitting in a room, no crowd, and it's very tough to get energy up. Now, the NBA doesn't like the Raptors, and in some ways, us getting to this finals game is not in the script. In fact, they tried to hit job us yesterday. During the game with Andrew Jones, the referees were very bad. Aganabazi was against us, and he was actively trying to hurt our team from getting past the goal, Grand Rapids Gold yesterday. Not to mention the announcer, along with Danilo Gallinari, once again, as the commentator, who's a former Nugget. They were very much calling the game like they wanted Grand Rapids to win. Right from the start of the call, the announcer's saying, oh, they're undefeated, but will they be after this game? Like he had a script or something. Like they had a script. And they called it like the Raptors 905 didn't deserve no respect at all. That team is undefeated. And I even wrote that in those comments. And this is a secret, y'all. In the YouTube comments, the announcers can see what we're saying. In fact, we got the announcer of the game yesterday to start pronouncing Jonathan Mobo's name correctly. He was calling him Mubu, and all this bullshit. And we started phonetically writing it in the comments. This is how you say his name. And he started saying it right. So that's how I knew that they can see our comments. And you know what we did in there? Obviously, it's on YouTube Canada because they're not showing the game in Canada. And it's only Canadians in there, 905 people. And we're telling them, like, I'm saying, man, these guys need to respect this team better. This team is undefeated. They're talking all this trash in the broadcast, doing the normal biased American reporting against the Canadian entity. And I'm like, nah, we ain't having this. And they're going to look stupid. And in some ways, they can see that and they're like, man, maybe we should respect them a little more. Just because I'm an American journalist who doesn't pay attention to the Raptors franchise at all, because that's how we're trained. I don't know them that well. Maybe I should listen to them. So we're saying stuff like, we gave 21 points to the Clippers on Friday and still came back and routed them. And they were acting like they had a 16-point lead, and they're like, oh, Gold have already won. I said, nah, I guess y'all haven't watched the 905 enough to actually understand what you're dealing with in this game. So let's not get it twisted. Andrew Jones and Elijah Martin and Chucky Hepburn and AJ Lawson, all them, they were playing against 8 versus 5 for sure. Agana Bazi was absolute dick yesterday, calling possession balls wrong. And they did the same thing to us in Brooklyn later that night. This is a really insidious rep manipulation. It's basically where the ball goes out of bounds and it's obviously off the other team, but they call it against us and they give the ball to the other team, even though it's off of the other team. Now, the coaches have a choice. They can burn their challenge in the first half on a dumbass bad call by a dumbass ref like Evan Scott, or they could try and save their challenge. In some ways, it's weighing like, do we want to use the challenge now just to save one possession? But these guys are fucking with us. It's obvious the ball went off the Grand Rapids goal, but Agana Bazi wants to give them the ball and say that it was off us. This shit happened in both the games the Raptors played in yesterday, at least 5 times, guys. I counted it. There was at least 3 times it happened in the Brooklyn game, and at least 2 times it happened in the Raptors 905 game. And it's a really insidious ref manipulation because they know they're getting the call wrong, honestly. Evan Scott, you fucking piece of shit. You know you saw the ball go the wrong way. You called it absolutely horse crap a couple times, and you got called on one of them, and they reversed them. They reverse them sometimes, and the other ref comes over and say, no, it was out on them. It happens that way sometimes. But this is an insidious ref manipulation. And to me, it signals immediately that ref crew is out to fucking make that team lose when they screw them over with calls like that. Sure, there's all the normal ref manipulations of I won't call fouls on your side of the court, and I'll call all these touch fouls for them on the other side of the court. Sure, there's all kinds of crazy ref manipulations. In fact, yesterday we got a plethora of them between the 905 game and the Raptors game. Now, this is the thing. The Raptors 905 are badasses, and they're not trying to go out like that. And even if the whole entire fucking league, that whole entire room they were playing in yesterday did not want them to win, they went and won by 2 points and won their fucking game and got the finals because they ain't trying to go out like that. And it could be 8 versus 5. It could be association versus 5. And that's what they did yesterday. They beat the association. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when I watch Raptors games, sometimes I watch the announce crew of the other team, and they're so biased. And, listen, when it's a neutral site in Orlando and you get supposedly a neutral announce crew, they can shape the game because in some ways vibes and feelings they put out by what they're saying in the game can go to the audience and people in the collective energy will feel it. And they'll be like, oh man, they're right. The Raptors 905 suck. We've been getting gaslighted for 30 years around the Raptors franchise. Just so y'all know, the media and our own media people have told us that the Raptors suck. And that has programmed people to think that the Raptors suck because it's all big of the grand scheme. Stargate and I talk about all the time. Whether it's hockey establishment, whether it's USA, NBA not wanting the Canadian team to do anything. There's all kinds of different ways they gaslight us. So what we do in the comment section on the YouTube watching of the 905 is we demand respect. I go in there and I say stuff like, man, this announcer's going to sound so stupid when the 905 come back and win this game. And you know what they do? They read it and they start changing their call. They know they're being biased towards us because the league office told them to be. In some ways, they may have a proclivity to be biased against the Canadian teams and they're announcing no matter what. But when you're in a neutral setting in Orlando, it's supposed to be a neutral setting, right? You're not supposed to have the refs against you. You're not supposed to have the broadcast crew against you, but you do because you're the Raptors and you're the only Canadian team. So what do? Well, I do my part with the rest of the Raptor freaks in that chat, and we start making fun of that announce crew, shaming them into treating us with more respect. And it worked. It worked. That dude started calling the game way more fairly after we talked some shit to him. He started announcing Jonathan's last name correctly. And, I feel like we had a part in helping the 905 win yesterday, partly just because the announce crew had to change their call from being so fucking biased. And when we beat them by 2, Danilo Gallinari looked like his dog died after the game. So don't tell me those guys weren't trying to script write the 905 out of the Winter Showcase Cup. Don't tell me that, because their faces and the way they're jubilating whenever the goal did anything right tells you exactly what's going on there. So yeah, we had to fight for some respect. In some ways, it's shaming the announce crew to be a more neutral broadcast and show respect for a team that's undefeated. I'll say it like this: if the South Bay Lakers with Bronny James were undefeated right now, don't you think that fucking shit would be all over ESPN on the main page? They'd be talking about it at the front of Sports Center. Seriously. Where is the fanfare? Where is the recognition? Where is even anybody talking about how they just broke history for G League, and they continue to break history going forward at a 16-0 record right now? Seriously, if Bronny James did this shit for the G League team for the Lakers, we wouldn't hear the end of it on all the fucking media and the bullshit. So seriously, recognize the achievement of Andrew Jones and the Raptors 905 NBA overall. And when they win tonight, they are going to win. You damn for sure better recognize them then, because they went through it, not just 5 versus 5, not just 8 versus 5. They went through it association versus 5. So you will respect them, because they will demand it when they come to the game tonight and kick the shit out of the Salt Lake City Stars. Yeah, NBA. You want to railroad them out of the game yesterday, and they were having none of it. They were like, we ain't going out like this, motherfuckers. We didn't go 15-0 to go down now. No, we want that money. Chucky wants 100,000. All them deserve 100,000, those Raptors 905. They're going to deserve it tonight when they come and get it against the Salt Lake City Stars. That's right. We should react to this game right now. Seriously. But that's how it is, y'all. It wasn't even 5 versus 8. It was definitely, because Agan Abazi was not our friend. He was a little dick. And honestly, Agan, be gone, is what I'm saying right now, with your sorry-ass calls. And some of that shit was on purpose, just to make a Raptors coach burn challenges, just to fix a dumbass call you already got wrong. And when they go and look at it, oh, we did get it wrong. I'm sorry. Well, we get another challenge, but we only get 2 more. That we only get 2. So how many of these bad calls are you going to throw at us? And how many can we challenge and get fixed? So we got to pick and choose. Which ones are we going to call? Which ones are we going to call them out on? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that yesterday was 2 of the most epic games in some ways. The Raptors game later was not fun, but it was drama. It was drama personified. These were fights. These were crazy ass games, both of them. The game with the 905 was a nail biter. It was very close, but they landed that plane right with clutch play from people like Elijah Martin and Chucky Hepburn and Jonathan Mobo. And they landed that plane and they got it in a 2-point victory. Monique was like, man, you got to, what is going on? Why is this happening? I'm like, you're spoiled. We've been kicking the shit out of teams and routes. But as we go through this tournament, we start to face better and better teams in the G League, the creme de la creme. If we want to be at the top over them, we've got to beat them. And tonight, Salt Lake City, it's your turn. And I want to see a 17-0 at the end of tonight and a Raptors 905 Winter Showcase Cup championship and $100,000 for each of those gentlemen that have been perfect so far this year. That's what I want to see right there. That's right, baby. That's right. Beat Salt Lake City. Beat the association. And they didn't want this. In some ways, they don't even want to advertise this. Raptors 905 versus Salt Lake City Stars. Why the hell did the Raptors get to the finals? Who let that happen? Is what some of the NBA officials are saying right now. Who let the Raptors 905 get to the Winter Showcase Cup final? We should have stopped them a long time ago. What is happening here? What is going on here? I'm telling you, you think I'm a conspiracy theorist? Nah, I'll lay out the whole case for the Raptors' demise against the Brooklyn Nets last night, and you will see exactly what I see. And you'll be like, holy shit, Lex is right. This is crazy. This is crazy. When I pull it all out and throw it all on the table and you see it in front of you, you'll be like, damn. And you won't feel so like, I want to go at our guys. In fact, you'll be thinking, damn, I want to protect them. I want to help them. I'm not mad at them anymore. Does any of y'all are mad at the Raptors right now? Let it go, because they were screwed over by the association last night, and that was a very pointed attack in all kinds of different ways. Like I said, they scheduled us on a back-to-back against the Boston Celtics first in Toronto, knowing we would have to go on a plane and fly overnight through customs to Brooklyn, go and then get there, and then have to play the Nets at a 6 p.m. game. Not even a 7:30 game, a 6 p.m. game. I'm telling you, man, that was a scheduled loss last night. And I called it in the morning, didn't I? I said, this is a trap game, y'all. They're going to try and make us lose to the Nets tonight. And they did. And they were successful. And there was a lot of layers to how they made us lose last night. You know, Scott Foster's a whole other layer, guys. And I'll go over the ref manipulation of the game last night, and I'll tell you exactly what he did to fuck us over, because he did. He fucked us over. And Evan Scott was the worst ref last night. Absolutely the worst ref. He did what I was explaining earlier multiple times last night. Very evidently off the Brooklyn Nets, out of bounds, but they call it absolutely wrong. We can all see it on TV. He's right there. He can see it. So Darko's got to weigh whether he's going to waste his challenge on keeping possession just because Evan Scott can't fucking see who hit the ball out of bounds. And I'd say if that's one time, oh, that's just a general mistake. No. That's a bulletin point from the NBA head office that Tim Donaghy talks about, saying that referees get a little piece of paper before the game, and it says, do this, this, and this in this game. And I'll tell you two of the bulletin points. I know two of the bulletin points that they called, that they wanted them to play, because Evan Scott's a simple mind. Yeah, alive and kicking. Yeah, you're a simple mind. You're not a very up there. You did the exact bulletin points to a T so that I could see them clearly what they were. When there's a ball that's 50-50 that goes out of bounds, call it out of bounds on the Raptors no matter what, and give possession to the Brooklyn Nets. That was a bulletin point for Scott Foster and Natalie Sago and Evan Scott last night on a piece of paper in the back before they came out. A second bulletin point was this. Immanuel Quickley had one of the worst games of his life against the Boston Celtics on Saturday night. He went 1 for 12 and scored 3 points. When Immanuel Quickley drives to the basket and he's going for his move, if he is fouled, do not give him foul shots. Call it on the floor. Did you see how emphatically Evan Scott did this shit every single time the IQ went to the court, to the drive? Because IQ was coming up with a shot. And you heard Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong say, that's fishy. It looked like he should have went to the line. That's a bulletin point, because he did it consistently at least twice, maybe even 3 times last night, where IQ has the ball, he's driving the lane. And you know what? When somebody's gathering and coming up like this, they've been putting them on the line like that. So what do? You frustrate the hell out of a guy who's struggling already by not even giving him a shot on the free throw line. Side out. And it was fishy as fuck. And it was specifically quickly. You saw these plays when you watched the Brooklyn game last night, when Quickley went to the lane to try and drive and try to bring up his shot. It was a foul. He called the foul. I'll give him credit for that, but he called side out every single time. That's a ref manipulation. There was a bulletin point on a piece of paper in the back green room for the referees that said, when Immanuel Quickley drives, do not put him on the line, side out. I'm telling you right now, these things exist. There are rules, and there are little games, just like Super Troopers pull over some stoners and say, let's play this game. Let's see if we can say meow in between everything. They do this shit with the refs. They say, these are your goals. These are your little side quests. This is this. If they get the ball and it goes out of bounds, just inexplicably call it out of bounds on the Raptors, even though it's very evidently out on the Nets. They do this shit to mind fuck them. Seriously. And you put a whole other layer of it on there, that the fact that, and this is fishy as fuck too. Mechanical failure, seriously? Mechanical failure? That plane sat on the runway for 2 hours extra in between the whole thing. They got done with Boston. They got to Pearson. They got on the plane, and the pilot got on there. I'm sorry. The flight crew has informed me that the plane is not ready to fly. We need to de-ice. There's a mechanical failure. And I'm sorry, guys. We're going to be sitting here for a little while. That shit. And the Raptors just played the Celtics in a physical ass game where they should be rehabbing. They should be icing. They should be resting. Meanwhile, they're on a fucking plane in the middle of the night on Saturday night on the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. They're sitting on a fucking plane on the tarmac in Toronto, waiting to go to Brooklyn, sitting around. Do they sleep? I hope they do. If you can sleep on that plane like Pat Frayer can. Please sleep on that plane. Just go to sleep. Go to sleep. I'm on the plane. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're playing cards. Maybe they're just like, man, I thought we were going to get there soon. What's going on here? You know, mechanical failure. When it's the Brooklyn Nets, when it's New York, when it's all this bullshit, I don't trust shit. Because they had Bleacher Report and fucking Game of Zones. They have fucking bullshit, so much kind of bullshit going on. Listen, it probably maybe was just a regular planned mechanical failure. Maybe it was just a normal day at the airport where sometimes planes just don't go off on schedule. But motherfucking shit, if I had to hear the story about Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin deliriously singing Christmas carols and not letting nobody sleep on the bus where they're driving through New York to finally get to from the airport to the hotel at 5 a.m. in the morning, like seriously, y'all, do you not understand that the Raptors had no fucking sleep from the Boston Celtics game to the Brooklyn game, and they look like it on the court? You know how it gets when you're sleep deprived. You get delirious. You get a little fucking woo, like you're high. All the signs that was like that for them last night was there, and it was from the start, y'all. Those guys were exhausted from the beginning of the start. They were in a weird place. You know how it is when you're sleep deprived, where you're just kind of like on autopilot, and you're just kind of like, it's like, is that real? I can't even fucking see it. And if you think that they weren't tired, y'all, go ahead and listen to the third and fourth quarter of Jack Armstrong and Matt Devlin's announce crew was fucking tired and delirious themselves. Those motherfuckers were going off script and saying crazy shit. Matt Devlin was getting called wrong because he was so fucking tired. The announce crew was fucking up because they were so tired, y'all. Seriously. I mean, Matt Devlin came on and right at the beginning of the game, he said, "This is like a Beasties Boys. No sleep till Brooklyn, Jack." And I love that shout out. Kudos to Matt Devlin for the Beastie Boys License to Ill. Shout out to the great classic, "No Sleep Till Brooklyn." But they lived that shit last night. "No Sleep Till Brooklyn" was damn right. And none of them got sleep. Not even Jack and Matt. And you didn't hear their delirious call in the end. Matt, I don't know what's going on, Jack. They were all fucked up. The announce crew was fucked up. What do you think Jamal Shed and Scotty Barnes and all those guys on the court are going through too when they're all fucked up in their heads too? And the New Jersey Brooklyn Nets have not played since Thursday night. Yeah, it's trap game. Layered, intricate trap game. And not only that, a mind fuck game. We're going to make y'all play the Nets at home after the Celtics beat your ass and physically beat your ass. And you're not going to get any recovery. And we're going to make you play the Brooklyn Nets on no sleep. And that's an intricate layering of a trap game. You are losing today kind of fucking shit. And Scott Foster's the cherry on top that makes sure that shit lands the way it's supposed to. Because look, you could even give the Raptors credit for showing a heartbeat and some life in the third quarter when they went on a little run. IQ kind of sparked something, and they got the game back and were in the lead for a second. What happened then? Scott Foster started calling momentum-killing calls. There was one play where we were kind of scrappy. See, we're tired. We can't go after loose balls like that. We can't fucking do half the shit. When Shed is so short on his shot, that's a sign that he is absolutely exhausted. You see Shed take a three, and the ball doesn't even hit the rim. It's short. It goes there. That is exact sign of no sleep. That is exact sign of you have no legs, and you cannot compete at the NBA level because you are not prepared because of this fucking situation. And you know, when we got one thing going good, Scotty gets a steal in the lane. What is it all of a sudden? Scott Foster, foul on Scotty, even though we were just about to go on a fast break and maybe even start a run where we could overtake them and win this game. As soon as he saw that, Scott Foster, late whistle, even though we made a hustle play to be scrappy to get the ball from the Nets. And honestly, there was scrappiness and physicality all over the place. You're going to pick and choose, and that's the moment you're going to choose when the Raptors were absolutely – because Scott Foster's a master. He can tell. He can tell when runs are about to start. He can tell when teams can get momentum. And that play, we were building momentum. He killed it. He absolutely fucking killed it. Foul on Scotty Barnes. It's Brooklyn's ball still. That was going to be a rundown dunk going the other way, and they could have had a run after that, and we could have overtaken them and won the game. But Scott Foster killed that shit as soon as before it even fucking started. Now realize this is a mind fuck. You are realizing, man, the refs are fucking shitty. They are fucking us over, and I'm so tired. And these guys are rested and they're playing circles around us and they're running around and doing all this other shit. Seriously, y'all, you got to see the whole picture and understand just how intricate this whole thing was laid out to absolutely hand us an L against the Nets. They know they had to do this shit because we could beat the Nets every single time we played them. They have to fucking do this shit to help them get a win over us. Seriously, they have to because we beat their ass just with a couple of different variables changed in what happened yesterday. It was a perfect storm, a mind fuckery. I'm telling you right now. But I love what IQ said after the game. IQ said no excuses. He wanted to say it for a second, but he had pride. He's like, look, we're professionals. We know the drill. It was a late night, but I'm not making any excuses. I'm not making any excuses. He didn't want to use that pass. I'll use it for you, Manny. I'll use it for you. I'll speak on it this morning. If you got that pride, and I respect that. And Darko did the same thing. Darko did not say anything about anything that I just said, holding them back. And they just holding their pride up and say, look, it's the NBA. It's hard. And this was an especially hard game last night for what I just laid out for you guys. And if you can't see how fucking tired they were, you go ahead and try and play the Brooklyn Nets on no sleep after being in an airplane all fucking night and getting to Brooklyn when the sun's coming up. You go do it. And you tell me how you fucking do against the Brooklyn Nets. That's what I say right there. So, yeah, kudos to Emmanuel for not taking the excuses in the interview, saying we didn't win. I'm sorry. And, it is what it is. It's the NBA. It's hard. And in some ways, we know what we signed up for. This is what we get paid to do. Yeah, but this was a fucking crazy ass hit job. It wasn't even it was a ref hit job. It was a schedule hit job and fucking a mechanical plane hit job. It's like a triple hit job on them to try and absolutely sack them so that they lose. Absolutely. I saw this game on the schedule when I looked at the schedule and I said, this game's a weird game. I knew it. I knew it when I saw the schedule in August. I said, this is a weird game. They're making us go to Brooklyn after playing the Celtics at home before Christmas. And I was already a little fucking weird. I had weird energy about this game yesterday when I saw the schedule. I was looking at it, I was like, man, there's something weird about this Nets game on this Sunday, a day after playing Boston and Toronto. And I was exactly right. I got to go with my intuition because this was one of the most crazy, elaborate NBA hit jobs on the Raptors ever in the history of our franchise last night. Seriously, this is one of the most elaborate. And Evan Scott, you're not good at covering it up. In fact, some ways you showed me exactly what the plan was right from the start with your bullshit out of bound calls and all the other bullshit you were doing. Natalie Sago, I'll give you a little bit of credit for giving us some calls. You were kind of the good cop and helping us last night. And Scott Foster, you absolutely had the dagger ref momentum killer when you called that foul on Scott after we made a loose ball, scrappy play and got a steal and we're about to run out. Scott stopped that immediately. Whistle. Don't even try and run down the court, Raptors. Save your energy because it's staying right here, even after you expended so much fucking energy that you have very little of to get that ball back scrappy-wise. And I'm going to say, no, I'm Scott Foster. I'm the extender. But in this case, I'm not extending shit. I'm stopping this shit because I can feel the energy changing. I can feel the Raptors coming up, and they're trying to make their last push to try and come back and beat the Nets. I'm going to squash it right here. Foul on Scotty Barnes. Ball stays here. Free throws for the Nets. That the play I'm talking about. You saw it. Go back and watch it. You can see exactly what I'm saying in that moment. The Raptors were just about to surge up and do better and possibly win the game, but Scott Foster is that governor on site. He's that guy who's going to control it at the end, and he's going to direct it the way they wanted it. And this was a directed, because they know if we play the Nets, it's an Atlantic division. They don't want us to be tops in the Atlantic division. They don't want us to have a sweep of the Nets. They hate that shit. We've swept the Nets a lot of years in the history of the Raptors. They hate that shit because there's some people, even though the Nets are a shitty franchise, that has absolutely kind of been a shit fucking joke the whole time. They hate how we beat them down. And they had to get at least one against us. Now we won't see them again till the last game of the season, and it'll be very different then. Now, credit, Jack was right. The Nets are improved since the first two times we played them and beat them. They do have a couple things going a little bit better, and I am proud of Jordy Fernandez. But I would tell you, like, Jordy Fernandez don't need all this help. And NBA, why are you doing this? Let that man be natural. In fact, he'd probably be pissed to know how much y'all were hand holding and helping him. Seriously, because he's that kind of competitor, and respect to Coach Fernandez. But yeah, if I don't know, did I make my case to the jury today? Do you guys see anything that I'm telling y'all? Because I'll say, when you're delirious and you're sleep deprived and you have not slept, you are gonna miss bunnies. You're gonna take jump shots and they're gonna be short. You're gonna be slow to get to loose balls. You're gonna be easier to push around. There's all kinds of different stuff. I'll give credit to Jakob for coming in and trying to play. And they actually told us a lot about Jakob. I was like, man, yes, Jakob's going to play. This will help. And he tried to play. He played for a little while and the back stiffened up. And he asked to be taken out. They didn't take him out. And Darko said this after the game, that they talk to Jakob, they keep up with him. And if he says he needs to come out, they'll do it. And that's how it went down, guys. It's not that they pulled him or anything like that. Jakob told them that he needed to come out because he was in severe pain. So we've got to understand that when you're talking about Yak and his back, that he is the one who tells them how he's feeling, and that determines whether he's playing or not. It's not necessarily Dr. Alex. It's not necessarily Darko or Bobby Webster or anybody else. Jakob Poeltl is being trusted to convey to our team where he's at physically and whether he should be playing or not. And if that answers some more of the questions about the weird mystery about when is Yak playing and when he isn't, it's exactly that. How are you feeling, Yak? My back is feeling pretty good today. Oh, how is it now? You know what? I came into the game and I got hit a couple times by Claxton and Clowney, and it stiffened up. It actually really hurts, Darko. You know, I look at Jakob Poeltl as a very ordinary dude who's not a jerk or somebody who's going to be false pretenses. I don't look at him as a liar. And if Jakob Poeltl's played 10 years in this league, he understands himself better than anybody else because he feels it, right? So can we trust Yak? Because he has no nefarious reasons to try and screw us over. He loves Toronto. He really does want to play for us. He's not the kind of guy that's going to sit out for a hangnail. Let's just put it that way. If he physically feels like he can't play because he's really hurting, I'm going to trust him and believe him. And we need to just do this now going forward when it comes to his back and what's going on with things. You know, he stiffened up. He got out there. He played 6 minutes. He took a couple licks and he informed them is like, look, I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I tried. I felt good and shoot around and I felt like I could go. But honestly, it just seized up, and now I'm in severe pain right now. I mean, that's the way it went down, guys. Just so you know, it's Jakob who's telling them he needs to come out. He's not Jonte, bro. He's not doing this shit for bettors and shit like that. No. Oh, Jonte got poked in the eye. No, he didn't. Nobody's hand went near Jonte's eye. He's just making an excuse because he's in fucking under the thumb of the mafia. You think that this is what's going on with Yak? No. He's such a sheltered Austrian kid. So it's a crazy situation, man. And then you got scares like BI twisted his ankle. He came back. You know, there's a lot of drama in the games yesterday. Very, very dramatic with the 905 and very dramatic and traumatic with the Raptors and the Nets. Woo-wee. Crazy game yesterday. Lots of good basketball, though. And you know what? I got to give credit to those guys. They might as well have been out there playing drunk. And maybe that's why Brandon played well. I know that I used to play drunk all the time. Seriously. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, I played a lot of basketball, guys. And we played at parties. I'd go to house parties on the weekend, and we had the court, and we would hit the keg and drink a bunch of beer and be absolutely sloshed. And then you play basketball, and you'd be running up and down the court. It's fun, but it's dangerous. You could get hurt. And obviously, you weren't exactly your sharpest self with taking shots. Some guys did shoot pretty good when they were drunk. But, it's always weird playing that way. And that's probably a little bit how they felt last night. They felt a little inebriated while they were out there and a little disoriented. Seriously, if you really go back and watch them, like even Emmanuel's interview after the game, he was so fucking tired. Like his voice didn't have the punch that it normally has. It was like and it wasn't even that he was depressed or downtrodden. He was being a man and staying strong, but his energy just wasn't there. His voice was just like very kind of like no punch in it. It was just like, you could tell. You could tell. It wasn't the normal Emmanuel Quickly's voice. He was just so fucking tired. So, oh man, schedule loss. They had to put the back-to-back with Boston this way to set it up, and Scott Foster was the cherry on top just to make sure. I'm telling y'all. All right, let me get in the comments with you guys. I went on a 45-minute spiel just now about everything yesterday, and I hope you guys kind of see what I'm saying. Now, Bryce, I know you're mad at Scotty. I'm disappointed in Scotty too, but I'll tell you what, he's not anymore. He's more disappointed in himself than both of us. Trust me. If you saw Scotty on the bench at the end of the game, he looked really pissed off. He did not look happy, and he looked really overtired too. And that's what I'm saying. This is a mind fuck. Those guys went there. The refs showed that they are absolutely biased, and they're not going to help them, and they're getting beat up, and there's just nothing they can do. It must feel helpless to a degree because your legs and your energy just aren't there either. It's a mind fuck, guys. They put us through a mind fuck. And not only that, there was some weird, inexplicable broadcast change in the second half where all of a sudden we're hearing Vince Carter calling the game for the Nets on Yes Network. Like, what was that? That was so weird that like it just switched over to the other side for a little while. And Matt and Jack were joking about it, like, oh, thanks to Vince Carter for taking over the broadcast while we had technical difficulties. What the fuck was that? That shit wasn't an accident. There was some sort of weird shit in that too. I mean, when I saw Vince was calling the game for the Nets and it's Nets versus Raptors, I'm like, yeah, turncoat. Motherfucking turncoat. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe the Yes people cut into our feed on purpose to do some sort of weird ass fucking, yeah, we got Vince in our nation and he's calling the game for us while we're playing against you. That's why I don't fucking like Vince, man. He's been a turncoat this whole fucking time. And maybe you can take what he did like last night as not a turncoat. No, he's just a broadcaster. He just does what he does. Well, shit, has he broadcast our games this year? Has he returned back to our games? He only did it last year, maybe to pander because he's getting his jersey retired. Like, seriously. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, that was a weird ass fucking technical difficulty. Once again, a mind fuck. A mind fuck for us, the fans. A mind fuck for us, the fans. Because all of a sudden, wait, we're watching Yes Network and we're hearing the fucking Nets announce crew all of a sudden? What is that? Oh, we wanted to show you, Raptors fans, that Vince is calling the game for us this year. Some ways it's small balls mentality. The Nets are inferior to the Raptors, and Nets fans try and do stupid ass shit like this to fucking get at us, I bet. I mean, that's what Game of Zones was that whole time. That was made by Nets fans, and that whole choking scene with Kyle Lowry in the dining hall with Drake under the mask of it was LeBron, all this bullshit, that fucking storyline. You notice they never made the episodes when the Raptors won because they couldn't create it because they hated that so much. You got to understand, we have severe haters from Nets Nation, and there was some weird ass fucking shenanigans going on around that game last night. I'm going to say this right now. Yeah, you guys could think I'm crazy. You can think I'm a conspiracy theorist. But this shit, you take all this stuff all at once, you can see how the association's against us. You can see how it is. I mean, like I said, I looked up the jerseys, right? Who decides which jerseys we wear? The league office. The league office approves and tells us what jerseys we have to wear. We don't decide as a team in any kind of way. They tell us when we wear black, red, or white, or a city edition. And yeah, sometimes it is very pointed when we're at home playing the Celtics and we're wearing our black jerseys, the bad guys, and they're getting to wear their bold green jerseys against us. I'm telling you, man. All right, let's see. Kareem Thomas saying this. I don't know who to point the finger at, but somebody needs to take accountability. Why? Why? You see the storm that I just said to you? Who's the accountability for? Who's it for, Kareem? You want to take accountability? You go ahead and try and play a game and do what they try to do these last 2 days against a team. You can get mad because it's the Nets. I get it. It looks bad. In some ways, that's part of the perfect design. Get the fans all riled up and hating the team because they just lost to this lowly-ass Nets. and they just lost to the Celtics, and now all Raptors fans will be in shambles and acting out. You're playing right into their fucking scheme. Seriously, is what I'm gonna say about this. Obviously, we won't hear from Bobby about lack of center depth, but when are the coaches and players going to step up? For what? What did they do? I'm proud of them. They played a very good game last night, considering they were absolutely on no sleep. You fucking try and go do it, Kareem. That's what I'm saying. You go and try and play games with absolutely no sleep against a team that's well rested, and you see how well you do. I'm proud of them. I'm not mad at the Raptors at all. I'm not coming at them today. In fact, I feel bad for Scott because he had his worst game of the season last night. And I feel bad for the guys because in some ways this is traumatizing. Like I said, this is a mind fuck. They mind fucked our Raptors last night. And do we want to further that more from Fan Nation to pile on them on top of them? No. So I'm giving them a pass from yesterday. I'm giving them a pass strictly for this whole game situation. Now, if they lost to the Nets in any other kind of situation in other ways, most of the time I'm not. But today I'm giving them a pass. And if you can see what I just told you, everything I just said, you can understand how what a mind fuck they just participated in last night. Seriously, how fucking you're tired, you're doing everything right, you're trying to do things right, the shots aren't falling because you're so tired, and then you hustle and you finally get a good play, and then the ref screws you over with a badass call. It's deflating. It'll make you want to give up. And in fact, IQ said he was proud of his guys last night for having a fight to try and see it through and do their best for what they could do in this situation. He said he was proud of them because in these kind of moments, you get tested for who you are. Are you just going to roll over and lose and feel like, oh, I can't do anything about it? Or are you going to try and put that effort in and try and come back and do it, which they couldn't because they had no gas. You could see they had no fucking energy whatsoever. And that's what IQ said. They asked him, what was the problem? We had no pop. We had no energy. The other team had a ton of energy. So what do you want accountability for? What do you want as far as who's going to step up and say what? Sure, I'll tell Bobby at a Boston Celtics game 2 weeks ago, get a big, Bobby. Get a big, Bobby. Yelling at him personally at the game when I saw him in the sideline. I don't know why he hasn't done it yet. Once again, this has been a big question in Raptors Nation for like 5 years. Why don't we have another big, Bobby? Why don't we have another big, Masai? I seriously think that there may be some double secret probation that the Raptors are only allowed to slot one true big on their roster. And that we are play by rules that nobody else does. Because fuck, it seems like there's a plethora of big guys out there that we can go just get another one, right? Maybe there isn't. Maybe we're not allowed to. I have no fucking clue. In some ways, it's like, look, it seems like it's that easy. Hopefully he does it. And then we fix things. I don't know what he's doing. Bobby, you need to fucking do something. Seriously. There's accountability. You're right. We can do it with Bobby because this roster is not built right for depth for us to sustain Yak's absence. And we do need somebody. You're right on that. But accountability for what? On the game last night, these guys played their asses off and they tried as much as they could with what they could with the gas in their tank. The car don't go nowhere down the road with no fuel, does it? No, it doesn't. And that's part of it right there, man. That's part of it right there. I'm tired of Darko sugarcoating during the presser. I told you this yesterday, Kareem. Maybe you weren't in the chat yesterday. What you see in the presser is his face to the public, the fans, and the press. You don't see his face in the locker room when he's talking to the players. And in some ways, I'm glad he's not throwing guys under the bus in the interviews because that's toxic. And that doesn't help anything. And Nick Nurse used to do that all the fucking time. And it was toxic as fuck. In some ways, what happens in the locker room is not necessarily for us unless somebody's getting a chain and they're taking a team photo. It's not for us. And once again, I'll say this. Darko's not coming out and to talking to the press very quickly after the game. He's in there talking to his guys, who knows, for 10 minutes going off on them. And you have no idea what he's saying. So you have no knowledge on what you're speaking of. And if you're going to say he's sugarcoating things during the presser, well, maybe he's trying to help these guys because he knows Michael Grange is going to write some bullshit if he goes negative. Maybe he knows that Raptors fans will act like you are and say, oh, he's not caring. Well, maybe he also knows if he does the opposite, Raptors fans will take that ball and run with it. I think this is very smart of him. Keep it sweet, keep it positive, and just talk about the game and keep it on basketball. In some ways, you can see he's not being in reality. That's bullshit. Knows the reality of everything that's going on better than any of us. So I'm just saying this. I don't care what your schedule looks like. Lack of effort seems to be a continuous thing with the team. Okay. If you really think that they had a lack of effort last night, and you got to listen to what I'm saying. Seriously. And like I said, IQ, do you think he's just sugarcoating things when he said, I'm really proud of my guys? We got in a foxhole, we had no gas, and we fought our best, but we did not make it. You got to understand, you're still results oriented. This is not necessarily about wins or losses. This is about effort, and this is about how you play. And you're saying they didn't have good effort, but how do you know how much fucking energy they had for last night? Seriously, all the signs were there that they had no fucking energy at all. And I don't know who you blame. Do you blame a pilot? Do you blame a mechanic? Do you blame a fucking schedule maker? Who do you blame, man? I mean, Blackhawks saying we got to get rid of back-to-backs, and he's right. After shit like yesterday, you shouldn't have a back-to-back like this. And every single time a team plays in Toronto and has a back-to-back in the States after that, that's extra time because of customs. And they do this to other teams too. They'll schedule them with a trap game after coming to Toronto on a back-to-back. They're going to Milwaukee or something. They're going to lose in Milwaukee the next night. They do this to other teams too, except we are the team that's in Canada that has to do this regularly. And we have to do this a couple times during the season. So, I'm just saying, man, you guys come at the players, coming at the coach. It's not the right move right now. Seriously, because if you really are a Raptors true blue fan, you got to support them right now and just be like, yeah, I understand what happened. You have children, Kareem. If your child was in this situation, how would you look at it? That's what I would say right now. If your kid was playing in sports and they had this exact situation with all these parameters to their particular sport and their team, how would you look at the whole thing from the outside as the dad watching it? Would you be yelling at your kid for fucking losing and having no energy and hold them accountable for what happened? Think about it that way. How about that? Think about it that way. That's going to say that. Shaq Lindsay saying the Raptors' depth in question. No backup centers, not enough production off the bench, and if a starter goes down, we're in trouble. I mean, it's a perfect storm of stuff. I mean, if there's a certain part of the schedule that's lighter and we miss some guys, we can weather that. But you know what? The big problem with what's happened with the Raptors in the last couple of weeks, with the losing since the 9-game win streak, is a war of attrition with exhaustion. Once again, the Raptors have so many games packed into November and December. There's not many days off. They're playing 29 games in 2 months. And how many months are in a month? How many days are in a month? So yeah, they're on one day, off one day, on one day, off one day. And that's a long grind, guys. They've had a lot of stretches where they play 5 games in 7 days. They've had a lot of stretches where they play 7 games in 9 days. They've had a lot of stretches where they play 11 games in 12 days. Shit like that. Crazy shit like that, guys. You've got to get understanding that these guys are exhausted at this point in the season to a degree. And that break that they got around the cup was great, but they can be exhausted in short-term times too, with a quick turnaround of a back-to-back like what they did this weekend. The attrition of getting tired got to the point where they lost that game in overtime with Mark Davis screwing us over. We should never went to overtime in Charlotte against the Hornets. And that was the breaking point for when these guys just absolutely hit the wall. And then they lost a bunch of games in a row. Lakers, New York, Boston. That's by design, guys. Look at those teams that they got beat by. Those are the darlings. Those are the top teams that they want to market. And in some ways, the Raptors beating those top teams is not in the NBA's interest. They don't want that. And the Raptors are so good. In some ways, that's a compliment to us, that they have to stack shit against us because they know we're that badass and they have to hold us down. So in some ways, that's a compliment that they have to make a crazy ass schedule to help the Knicks and the Celtics and the Nets beat us. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Seriously. Smith saying that was a game that the Raptors should have won regardless. Yeah, I wish we had, but there was a perfect storm of all kinds of fuckery. And you guys can disagree with me. You guys can go ahead and say, yeah, we should have won that. I agree. I want to win all the games, but we didn't. Live with it. Sit with it. You get all pissed off because they didn't win and you start getting self-destructive or toxic. That's your choice. I'll see the forest for the trees. I'll see exactly what's going on here, and I'll call it like it is. And I mean, I support my team. I'm not going to dump on them at their worst hour when they're all tired and feeling like shit because they just lost the Nets. Because I understand they did their best and they tried their hardest in the parameters and the situation of what happened last night. And that's the thing I want to remind you guys right now. You can say they should have won. I wish they had, but Scott Foster was not there to allow them to. You know that. You know that, right, Reggie? That if anything at the end, if we were even that close, at the end, Scott Foster would have killed it and he would have forced the game in the Nets to win. You know he would have. You know he would have, Reggie, right? You know he would have. If anything, if they had gone closer, he had that one move, that one I told you guys about, the momentum killer. He would have done that shit right up until the end and screwed us over, and he would have handed that game to the Nets even if we were close. So you can say we should have won that game regardless. No, Scott Foster was there to make sure that the Brooklyn Nets won, that they made sure that the schedule makers planned for us to lose to the Nets on December the 21st, 2025 was going to go through for sure. In fact, that's how scared they were. They probably scheduled Scott for that game a couple weeks ago when they saw the Raptors just reeled off a 9-game win streak. So you can see it how you want, but understand the extender was there to squash a Raptors win against the Nets on that night last night. I'm telling you right now, look, the refs have always been against the Raptors. Stop making excuses, man. Oh, you think I'm making excuses? Sure, I am. But IQ is not. And in some ways, I'm proud of him for that. But honestly, I see everything and I say it. I'll make excuses for IQ myself. Okay? And that's my right. And this is what I do on this channel. Look, you want me to just say, oh, yeah, no, it was all completely fair, Reggie. It was absolutely all completely fair what happened yesterday. You go ahead. You go ahead and be naive and say that yourself. You go ahead. I have my eyes wide open. I can see all this shit. You go ahead. You can be naive and, no, I don't want to see it, Lex. They're just shitty. I wish they had won. You don't want to see it? You go ahead. That's your choice. That's your choice. But the evidence of the associations against the Raptors franchise were in both games yesterday. And the 905 overcame that shit. And I'm proud of them. So, there's a couple different ways to look at this. You go ahead and look at it your way. That's fine. Kareem saying, I'm not against our team, but I hate when I don't see effort. Once again, effort, when you have energy, is there. They didn't have energy. Once again, Kareem, can you understand this? Once again, and Scotty yesterday was checked out. I'm not sure if it was because of the later 5 a.m. check. Yes, that's what it was. But still, I'm huge on effort and didn't see it. Okay. That's part of the thing, man. It's kind of like if you have a loved one who's under duress and you want to help them, but you can't. Don't you think that these guys were going through an emotional pit of their stomach? They're like, man, I wish we could do so much more, but my body is not willing. My body is not cooperating. My energy is just not there. I want to do this. You feel helpless. And you're going to pile on top of them? Do you think that they weren't fucking trying? They were playing their asses off with what they were capable of in the situation, Kareem. Seriously. I'll go and do my stars of the game real quick right now. In fact, let's do, you know what? I'm going to do 905 first because honestly, we're talking a lot about this game and we will talk about it. But first, let's talk about success. Let's talk about the Raptors. 905 beating the Grand Rapids Gold by 2 in a very much a dogfight and against the league. Like I'm saying, that whole room was against them. The referees were against them. The announcer was against them. The only people who were on their side was their bench and their coaches. And they were the ones rocking things. And Bobby Webster and Shelby were there too, sitting at courtside. I saw them. Bobby was in Orlando. The star of the game last night is Jonathan Mobo. Jonathan Mobo, number one star, 29 minutes, 21 points, 9 of 16. 1 of 3 from 3, 1 of 3 at the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 2 steals, a -1. Jonathan, that's a double-double of a 21 and 11 game. That's badass, man. You're fighting out there. You're not perfect. You do bumble some stuff. You do kind of screw up at times, but man, keep trying. You're so dedicated. You're playing your ass off, and you're a huge part of the reason why the 905 are undefeated this season. And he's not wasting his time down there. Trust me. That man is doing things and developing, and he is getting to new places with his game. So, Jonathan, you're my number one star. Now, he didn't get the chain. The chain went to Elijah Martin yesterday. He is my second star. Elijah hit some crazy shots, very clutch shots. He helped take us home in the fourth quarter like him and Chucky have been doing. He is a winner. And that's what a lot of our Raptor freaks were saying in the chat. Elijah Martin is a winner. Mr. AM. They were talking about him like he's a legend. And I love it. Good job, Blackhawk. Good job, guys who were in the stream with me. 32 minutes for Elijah, 18 points, 7 of 15 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3. He missed his only free throw, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 3 blocks, a plus 11. Elijah at one point made a shot sitting on the floor and got an and one. It's crazy, man. I mean, actually didn't get an and one. They were fouling us and they weren't putting us on the line. They went against the odds. They overcame and they won it. I'm telling you, man, we got resiliency. We've got fight. But if it's not enough energy to do it, we can't do it. But these guys had the energy and they came up and they did it against a lot of forces against them, guys. And I'm so proud of the 905. I am so proud of them. And I wish we got the double W yesterday. The 905 did their part. The third star of the game is Chucky Hepburn, 35 minutes, 14 points on 5 of 13 shooting. He had a double-double with 10 assists, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, a -2. Chucky, once again, not totally shooting well most of the game, but in the end, he's calling his number and he's making very good plays. Like he had this really interesting dribble drive where he went to the lane and then he did a turnaround fall away shot that was absolutely money and looks so good. And him and Elijah really do carry in the fourth quarter to help bring things home for our team on the 905. These guys really are fourth quarter stars that absolutely do big, huge things to take it home and get us the win. So kudos to Elijah and Chucky. You guys are winners, seriously, because you're proving it right now in what you're doing. Julian Reese is my 4th star of the game. Julian was interesting. He's a big body off the bench. He got 13 rebounds in 21 minutes. I'm telling you right now, the answer to what we may need for the Raptors is in Angel's little brother, possibly. He's really green, and maybe he's not ready to be in the NBA games because he's going to make mistakes and foul a lot. But, man, he's going to be good, and that's why I really want to figure things out with Julian. 8 points, 4 of 7 from the field, 13 rebounds, which 12 of them were defensive, and 2 turnovers, a -2. Just a rebounding machine, taking up space. And, they had bigs. This is the thing. These teams were playing in the G League in this Showcase Cup are absolutely bigger teams than us. The Clippers were bigger and the Gold were bigger, and I'm sure the Stars will be bigger than us too. So Julian Reese has been a key player because he's been one of our best fighters for getting rebounds. Sar was garbage. Sar played 5 minutes yesterday, and he could not be relied on. He started, and he was garbage, and Andrew Jones went away from him, and he went more heavy with Reese and Roddy, which was smart because, honestly, Olivier Sarr is a dead end. And people are wondering, why don't we bring up Olivier Sarr to the Raptors? It's a dead end. Just trust me. Just trust me. I'm watching the 905 like a hawk. I understand this team very well. And if you guys are asking me where the bigs are to come up from there, it's Julian Reese or maybe even David Roddy, honestly. He's shorter, but he's so stout and he's a fighter that, I could almost make a case that David Roddy could maybe come up to the Raptors and help us, even though he's a shorter player. And that's part of the problem. Let's go with the next star of the game, Tyson Degenhart. I'm doing 7 stars because it's just a phenomenal win. Such a close win. Tyson Degenhart off the bench, 19 minutes, 7 points, 3 of 8, 1 of 3 from 3, 5 rebounds, 1 turnover, a +9. When Tyson was out there, the Raptors were doing really well in everything. And you know what? He's a lot like Grady. He has a lot of parallels to Grady Dick, similar kind of player profile. But Tyson has this real sense of knowing where to be in the right place at the right time. And he has a good basketball IQ where he premeditates. So he's good for getting steals. He's also good for covering up bad plays by other teammates and fixing them by going and hustling and getting the ball. And he's good for an open 3. And he's also good for pretty good driving to the basket. And also he's a great rebounder to a degree. He was also playing very good defense on the big for the Grand Rapids Gold yesterday when a lot of other people were having a hard time guarding him. Olivier Sarr couldn't guard him, Moses Brown, but Tyson Degenhart could guard him at times, which was interesting. So I got to give props to Boise State's Tyson Degenhart for what he did yesterday. Tyreek Key is my 6th star of the game. Tyreek hit some very key threes in this game to help the Raptors 905. Not a huge game, 17 minutes, 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting, 2 for 2 at free 3-point range. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. But Tyreek sparked offense for the 905 when they were going a little stagnant at times, because they do have some of the same problems the Raptors have, where they just go through droughts, and that's where the other team will go up on them by 10 and different things happen. But then their defense gets so stifling and it just constricts on them like a boa constrictor. It's like through the game, the 905 are ratcheting up the intensity of their attack on the ball handlers for the other team, and it derives a lot of fast break off steals. And that's kind of been what they do. They may start slow, they may lose like in the first quarter, but they cinch it up and they start coming back and they kick their ass. And their defense just gets harder and harder to play against as you get closer to the end of the game. And that Tyreek Key was a spark offensively for the Raptors 905 when they were struggling to score, and I appreciate him for that. My last star I'm going to give some credit to is David Roddy. David Roddy is a +6 on 27 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 turnovers. Yeah, the plus minuses were kind of what I was giving some of these guys stars for, because they had winning minutes out there, because it was a very even game. The whole entire game was back and forth. It was never, ever really close. Never, ever was really that the Raptors 905 got a huge lead and blew them out. They had to land this plane very closely and by the absolute possession to the end to win this game by 2, 103 to 101. And in fact, the Gold had the biggest lead at any time in the game. They were winning by like 13 or so in the beginning of the game. So kudos to the Raptors 905, resiliency, going against everything. Like I said, this wasn't 5 versus 8. This was a 5 versus the association. And the association, the whole entire association was in the room with representatives from all the teams watching as scouts and executives. Then you had the announce crew that were very much biased. In fact, they did radio interviews with players for the Gold and the coach during the game, and then they decided, because we complained, it's like, this is biased. Obviously, they're totally for the Nuggets team. Danilo was a Nugget, and so I called it out in the announce, and they went and actually arranged an interview with Andrew Jones, but they did it at the beginning of the fourth quarter, which in some ways was insidious, because Andrew Jones trying to coach his team in the last frame, and this is a huge game, and he's no nonsense. In some ways, he was annoyed that they put the headset on him in the middle of the game. They just started the fourth, and this man's trying to coach his team, and he's an active coach. He's trying to talk, and he was polite. He answered the questions, but you could tell he did not want to be bothered with doing the broadcast mic while he's trying to coach his team undefeated in a semifinal match in the fourth quarter. Sure, they'll interview the Gold's coach in the first half when the game's still early, but they go and fucking give the mic to Andrew Jones in the fourth quarter. Seriously, y'all, you can't read between the lines and see some of this shit. That is manipulative. Like, they're trying to throw them off, and maybe the Gold jumps out on the 905 while the coach is distracted because he's doing media for the broadcast. That kind of shit. You got to pay attention to this. You got to pay attention to this. So those are my stars of the game. Moses Brown didn't do jack shit in the game. He did 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 turnovers, and 2 blocks. Yeah, the guy for them really was Curtis Jones, 20 points, but 6 of 21 shooting. DeRon Holmes, 19 points on 6 of 10, and Kessler Edwards, 16 points on 6 of 10 shooting too. Just a great, fantastic character win. And I want to see another one. Do it again. You're not done, Andrew Jones. You guys got to beat Salt Lake City today, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Tip off YouTube here in Canada. It's free. You can watch it with us. We'll be in there in the chat. You'll see the RFF in the house. I'm telling you, we'll be there. Yeah, I'm so proud of these guys, man. I'm so proud of this 905 team and how they handled things in the semifinal yesterday. Give you guys a treat. Watch the finals today against Salt Lake City, and hopefully you can put more of your attention on the success of the Raptors 905 and maybe forget about what's happening with the Raptors just temporarily while this is going on. Of course, a lot of people are saying this. Even Jack said it in the broadcast last night, that once the 905 are done with this tournament, we want to see them play for the Raptors because they're coming off a big high, hopefully, today when they win. They'll come in and hopefully they can supplant some of the guys who are working off the bench for us right now that are ineffective. You call up A.J. Lawson, call up Elijah Martin and Chucky Hepburn, and get Jonathan back in the mix too. And let's just see if they can help with some of the bench problems we're having right now with our scoring and different things like that. I hope so. I think that AJ Lawson could definitely help us. I think most of us are in agreement with that, that AJ Lawson could be a big upgrade over Jacoby and Grady right now, just because his confidence is way better. He's shooting way better. He's a more active stealer and doing other things. Now, granted, Grady did show signs of the old scrappy Grady, where he's just getting after it and doing what he's supposed to be doing. And Jacoby did have a pretty good game yesterday. In fact, he's one of my stars of the game. But still, we need help on the bench. The bench scoring is just not there. And I think that these guys who have been playing for Andrew Jones are the guys who can come in as the reinforcements and help us with that stuff, man. I'm telling you right now. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying this. Let's see. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. We were close. Got back from behind, but their shooting as better than ours. You know, that's one of the things that Darko said in IQ too. Is like in the fourth quarter, our shots just didn't go in. They had open shots. It's frustrating. They just didn't go in. And like bunnies were missed too. I'm telling y'all, that's the sign of fatigue. That's the sign of absolutely getting no sleep because you flew from Toronto to Brooklyn overnight the night before. You know, the shot, like I said, when I saw Shed miss the front of the rim on shots so short, that's his legs. That's tired. He has no power in his shot. And that is absolutely what it is. And there's not lack of effort. It's lack of the body is willing to do this. You know how it is when you get absolutely exhausted and you can't do jack shit. The mind is willing, but the body is not. You know what I'm saying? You want to do it, but you can't because you don't have the gas. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm sorry, but I feel there's no conspiracy. We just have to hold the front office accountable. No, we don't. No, we don't, Shaq Lindsay. You don't want to believe what I say. You don't think there's a conspiracy. You can't listen to what I just laid out and understand this. Seriously? Why is it that we've had the first couple of appearances against the Sixers and the Celtics and that we're involving a back-to-back? That the first time we played Nick Nurse and the Sixers, that was the second night of a back-to-back. And that's been the last 2 years that's happened. Why is that always happening with us in the Atlantic Division? Because the schedule makers are doing that shit on purpose. You don't want to believe it. That's fine. And you can think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist, but it's just the damn truth. They want us to have a bad record in the Atlantic Division because it's important for playoffs. Jack Armstrong talked about it. And, they will very pointedly put settings against us to make that happen. And last night was just we want to give a Christmas gift to the Nets fans and make sure that y'all get a victory over the Raptors before Christmas. You don't want to see it. You don't have to. Some of y'all can believe me. Some of you don't have to. You can think I'm crazy. But honestly, is it really that crazy when you hear how much xenophobia and the way people talk about Canada and in the Toronto Raptors in the NBA, people like DeMarcus Cousins, people like Gilbert Arenas, when you hear people talk the way they do, why couldn't you see this? Seriously, don't be naive is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, don't be naive. This is what I'm saying. I'm lost for words, Sheriff. You're lost for words. Well, let's have pride. Let's be proud of our teams. They had good fight, and they did the best that they could in the parameters that were going on. And the 905 were badasses. And I'll focus on them, and I'll give a pass to the Raptors for unforeseen circumstances that were absolutely demoralizing. And like I said, this is a mind fuck, y'all. This game was a mind fuck for them. And if y'all want to make the added part of the mind fuck reaction, the reaction of the fans piling on them and telling them they suck and all this stuff, I'm not doing that to them. I'm not doing that to them. You guys did a good job considering what you could do last night, Raptors. I'm proud of you guys. And this was a hard-ass game in every kind of sense. You guys can look at the Nets and say, oh, it's the Nets, Lex. They're a joke. Why did we lose to them? Well, Jordy's doing a good job. He's building them up, and they're playing better. Michael Porter Jr. is not missing. And they do have a team that's coached by a good coach. And they have improved since we played them twice already this season and kicked their ass both those times. So seriously, y'all can't be lazy fans and just say, oh, it's the Nets. We shouldn't have lost to them. No, you're smarter than that, Raptor freaks. You're up to speed like I am. And you keep up with the current news, right? So don't be a casual and say, oh, the Raptors should never lose to the Nets. Why did we lose to the Nets? Well, I told you. And if you don't want to listen to me or believe me, that's up to you, y'all. That's up to you right there. That's right. Fiercely saying, wearing 905 from head to toe. That's right. That's right. I got to respect and love my teams, and I'm rooting for these guys today. We going. That's right. We going. Bryce is saying we didn't look prepared. We got out-rebounded. We didn't hit our shots. Back-to-back shitters from Scotty really got me doubting him. I can't handle my best player not stepping up in games we should never lose. Now, something occurred to me that maybe like, and this is weird, and I don't want to say anything, but the Nutcracker, yeah, Jamal and Scotty went and did this Nutcracker thing on Friday night, and since then they have not played well. I don't know, maybe I'm just grasping. I'm trying to figure this out though. But yeah, Scotty's had two of his worst games of the season, the last two games, and I don't think he's happy about that, Bryce. I mean, I'm not doubting him. I'm not doubting him. Everybody's going to have bad games from time to time. Seriously. And the one thing we know, because Nick Nurse said this, if Scotty has a bad game, well, he's going to come back with a vengeance. So you know what? Let's let Scott have a good sleep last night, have a day off today. Hopefully he sees his friend, Jonathan Mobo, kick some ass and win the Winter Showcase Cup. And then he's in Miami, near home team. And, well, he can fucking come back with a vengeance against the Heat on Tuesday night, and maybe he'll show you something, Bryce. And one thing I know from Scott, talking to him on Twitch, Scotty Barnes Twitch family 2022 forever, and a lot of our members are here, is he told me personally, never, ever doubt me, Raptors freak. Never, ever doubt me. And Bryce, you want to doubt Scotty Barnes, you're on your own island, not with me. I'm not going there. I'm not gonna doubt him. Listen, every player is going to have duds from time to time. Not everybody's LeBron James and can have this crazy streak of double digit games that we ended just recently in the last month. Not everybody's going to be able to do that. Scotty's going to have his ups and downs. And in some ways, look, he's not shooting totally well. And the other thing is, like, look, some of the shots that Scott took last night were absolutely high percentage, amazing shots. In fact, I was happy because he wasn't settling for the three so much at times, and he was actually getting in the paint. But some of the shots and some of the moves he made were absolutely high level. They just didn't drop. And once again, just as much as Jamal Shedd's shot looked short and some of the bunnies didn't go, when you're tired and you're not exactly right, you will miss shots. So look, you guys can say I'm making excuses. You know what? Blame me. Y'all gonna want to go all crazy on people and point fingers. Blame Lex. I'll take it, y'all. I'll take it for the team today, because I don't think any of them deserve any kind of fucking bullshit. I will go over their box score, and I will talk about what I saw in the game with each individual player. But right now, y'all want to blame somebody. Y'all need to finger point. Blame me. Point at Lex. Yeah, let's blame Lex, because he's such a diehard love of Raptors, and he's going to come and jump in between the team and y'all with your bullshit this morning. Yeah, blame me. Come at me, guys. Put it in the comments. Say all kinds of shit about Lex. I'm mad at Lex because he made the Raptors lose last night. Yeah, blame me. I want to jump in between y'all and let you know that you can blame me, not the Raptors. Because in some ways, seriously, y'all need to give them a pass, a one-day pass, just like Canada's Wonderland. You guys give them one-day pass right now for tomorrow. Please, I'm asking y'all as a friend. I'm asking y'all as a guy who gets up every morning, 9:30, and talks about the Raptors for 2 hours every day. Will y'all give the Raptors one-day pass for the Brooklyn Nets game last night? I'm asking you as a friend. Will you do that for me, please? Will you please just lay off of them and just decide, you know what? Wash this game out of my mind. I fucking hate it. I don't want to look at it or think about it. I'm mad. Just give them one-day pass. I'm asking you personally from my bottom of my heart. Because seriously, guys, let's just give them a one-day pass. How about that? All right, let me go look at their stars real quick. Number one star of the game for me was Emmanuel, guys. Because look, Emmanuel fought his ass off in this game, and he didn't play the best, but he did get a double-double, 32 minutes, 17 points, 5 of 16 from the field. Yeah, he could shoot way better. But you know what? He's been going through it, man. He's not been shooting well recently, but he showed signs he was coming back. He did. He did show signs that he's coming back out of it last night. 3 of 10 from 3, 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 turnover, a -4. The thing about IQ is, I don't know if he hears our show or something like that, but we kind of talked about the other day that we wanted him to be more like Jason Kidd, that I'd like him to try and go for triple doubles, like go for the rebounds, the assists, and the points, balance your game out like that. And he's trying. I could tell the last 2 games he has actually been kind of rerouting his energy in a different way than what he's been doing before. And you know what? With different results. So, I mean, IQ, I love what you said after the game. He said, it's my job to get my teammates involved. So he knows the drill. He understands what he's supposed to do. And he was very much, I love playing with all my teammates. I love being on this team. So IQ, man, respect, man. And I got a treat for you guys later this week on Christmas morning. You guys are going to love what I do Christmas morning. My Christmas carol is going to be awesome. And yeah, listen, IQ, keep your head up. Listen, man, no excuses from your mouth, but I'll do the excuses for you. And I'll jump in the middle and I'll say, hey, blame me, blame Lex. Seriously, because I don't believe you guys should be coming after the team right now. I really don't. Second star of the game is Colin Murray Boyles. He was one of the few plus guys on our team. 19 minutes, 8 points, and 4 of 8 shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a +7. Colin wore purple shoes tonight, and that's much better, man. You made a rookie mistake on Saturday night. You really did. But you were a good, powerful player in some ways. You were fighting in there. You're a young guy. In some ways, maybe the tiredness didn't affect you as much because you're younger and you're more fresh. I don't know. Either way, you held your own pretty good with Claxton and Clowney around. And kudos to you, Colin. Good job. You've been a great rookie so far this season. My third star is Jacoby Walter. And those are the only 3 guys I'm giving stars to today. I'll give an honorable mention to Brandon, but those are the only 3 guys who get stars. 23 minutes for Jacoby, 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting. He made his only 3 rebounds, 1 turnover, 2 steals, a -8. Jacoby was active. He was trying. I like to see him making his shots. I liked him adding some offense, but alas, it's still only 9 points. And on this team yesterday, only 2 guys got double digits, and that was Emmanuel and Brandon. And even Brandon was on a lower level of what he usually does. 33 minutes, 19 points, 7 of 18 shooting, 3 of 8 from 3, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, a -14 for Brandon. Of course, he did have that section of the game where it was dubious whether he'd return after twisting his ankle. Of course, we're all kind of having holding our breath when we see that kind of shit happens when he's going in the back with Dr. Alex Silver. Yeah. In some ways, it's scary when that happens. But luckily, it was just a little thing. He could return. And I think also the foot that he twisted was not the foot that he had all the issues with last year, once again. I think that he twisted his left foot, and he had the problems with his right foot last year. So that in some ways, hopefully Brandon is not trying to miss any games. So, but yeah, honorable mention for Brandon. He was pretty good in some ways. All right, let me do Scott's stat line. And I want to say this. Scotty Barnes, when you made that pass to Ochai Agbaji for 3, that was the best play of the whole entire game. And the reason why is because you dribbled up the court, you looked around, you saw there were guys there. You didn't force anything like Grady trying to force a 1-on-2 fast break, which was so stupid. You looked around and you made the best of the possession because you saw that Agbaji had nobody near him. He was at the 3-point line, and you threw it to him immediately. He nailed that shot. That is a building block of what I want to see more of. You guys too often have play sets where you're looking to force a play because that's the play. Like get the ball inside to Brandon or do this on this. But they're crowding and there's double teams. You should have a plan B that you revert to, or a plan C even sometimes, depending on how the defense is reacting and covering you guys. I would say the hard and fast rule is wherever the other team is, go the other place where they're not. And there's quite often sometimes where we have Raptors who are completely open in the corner or in other places, and y'all are trying to force the ball into places where there's 2 defenders for the other team. So please look for the open man and stop trying to force the play set just because that's the play set through the defense. And the other sign that they were having a hard time last night with their energy is half-ass passing. You saw passes that had no zip on them, and they were getting picked off and running the other way back in transition. That, normally these guys put more zip on the bat ball or they pass it in safer ways, but there was a lot of dumb steals and turnovers because of half-ass passing from Scott, from Jamal, from Grady, from different people. They're just like, oh, this is a good idea. I'm going to do this. Or they do this crazy shit where they're trying to go for the home run ball down full court. And they're scouting this, and they know that you're doing this. And the cornerbacks and the secondary are there to cover up your wide receivers, Scott. And you can't just launch the ball up the court just because that's our philosophy under Coach Rajakovic. You need to do it smartly. You need to do it like Lowry would, and say, "Oh, this is when I can throw a football pass all the way up the court." But don't try and do it if they're back there or they're even playing like chicken. They're kind of acting like they're not there, but they are actually there, and they're ready to spring in action and fucking take the ball. So read the room better, read the court better, Scott. That's my biggest critique for him last night. The shots will fall. The shots that he's taking are good, high percentage shots. It's just the man was exhausted last night. They were all exhausted, guys. I wish y'all could understand this. 34 minutes for Scott, 6 points. I know it's dismal. And if you just look at the box score and you just think that, you're like, yeah, I can see why Bryce is mad at him or doubts him. But you guys got to understand the whole thing about the whole thing. You got to see the whole picture. 3 of 10 for Scott. He could have easily made 2 of those shots and he'd be 50% and he'd be double digits in scoring. It's just that there were a couple shots that just rimmed out or just barely didn't go in, but they were high percentage shots. And I was really actually, wow, Scotty just did that move. And that's going to be good because he's going to make that more and more in the future. In some ways, you guys can't just look at stuff as like, he only got 6 points. He sucks. You got to look at what he tried to do in the game and also understand that, wow, that's actually going to work really well as he hones it down and it's going to go in more often than not. And there's a lot of post shots. There's a lot of mid-range shots that Scott's taking right now that are absolutely the future. Let's just put it that way. And going into Kawhi Leonard kind of territory of making these kind of stuff. 6 rebounds for Scott, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 2 blocks. It's just tough, man. And a minus 22. It's just tough. Like I said, I'm giving them a pass for last night. I don't give them a pass for Saturday. The Boston game, I don't give them a pass for that. And what was my reaction to them yesterday morning? Y'all, the NBA is hard. You guys got to be more physical and you got to meet the energy and you need to hit them back when they hit you. I didn't give them a pass for the Celtics loss, but I'll give them one for last night. I will because I understand how fucking tired they were. Seriously. Jakob Poeltl tried. He played 7 minutes, 2 points on 1-1. He got that nice little layup from IQ. The stats don't lie. IQ's a way better player with Jakob out there. His stats just go up. And 2 rebounds for him, 1 turnover. He tried. And like I said, Jakob's the one who's calling himself to get out. If he's doing some sort of weird prop betting, like John Tay Porter, I doubt it. Come on now. There's no Austrian mafia after him, right? Something like that. No, Jakob's a good kid. Like, seriously. He's not going to pull himself out of the game in shady ways. He's really coming out of the game because he's really in pain. He doesn't feel like he should play anymore for that night. So, Abaji, 21 minutes, 7 points, 3 of 6 shooting. He made that 3, 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 1 steal, minus 12. He was trying to give energy to our team. He was. I mean, that Jacoby flying dunk, Abaji had a attacking the rim at times too. These guys, man, kudos to them for going on no gas and running on empty and doing what they could try and do last night. They were really fucking trying, guys. You guys can say you don't think they were trying, but you're absolutely wrong. You are absolutely wrong, Bryce. If you think that those guys weren't trying last night, they were trying. Trust me. They just didn't have no gas. Sandro Mamu off the bench, 20 minutes, 4 points, 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from free throws, 5 rebounds, 3 turnovers, and a steal. We had like 15 turnovers as a team, and that's usually a sign that, we're not taking care of the ball and doing things right. Minus 23 for Sandro. Jamison, 2 of 5 from the field, 4 points, 12 minutes, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. I would have loved to see more Jamison battle because he didn't really play against the Celtics. And he seemed like a fresh guy. And maybe he could have helped us more if he had played more. That is maybe a nitpicky thing I would have said towards Darko is like, you could have played Jamison way more in this game. And that may have been smart considering, the wear and tear on the guys who played heavy minutes against the Celtics on Saturday night. And Jamison didn't play that much against the Celtics. Let's see. Garrett Temple got his 2-minute appearance at the end, 1 assist, a +1. Jamal Shed, tough night, man. 2 points on 1 of 7 shooting, missed all 4 of his threes. They were very short. 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, a -11. No gas, guys. No gas. Grady Dick, 17 minutes, 3 points, 1 of 6 shooting. Absolutely horrible shooting by Grady. Grady, man, we got to depend on you, bro. This is what you're supposed to do. And it's very deflating. He missed some shots late, along with Jamal, that could have absolutely helped us turn this around. Jamison Battle 0 for 2 from 3 also. And those missed threes absolutely could have helped us get back in this game. But, when you're tired, you're not going to make shots as best as you usually do. But Grady was a +7. That's a sign that he was out there. He was getting after it. Maybe he was deliriously getting after it. When you see Grady stretch out on the floor to go after a loose ball, that's inspiring. And he was trying. That's the kind of Grady who needs to be there every night, sacrificing his body and going all out. Grady, that's the only way you stay in this league. You have to play that way all the time. You can't play this kind of hang back and do things. No, you need to go make things happen. And when you go bug people, when you go get on the floor, when you hustle and do stuff, that's the full Grady stuff. That is it. That's it right there. And that's what we want. That's what we want right there. So yeah, you guys can think I'm going nice on these guys. But seriously, we got to give them a lot of credit for the whole playing late thing. Seriously, it's absolutely a huge thing right there. Yeah. Yeah. Kareem saying, no, I'm not about any conspiracy. We were flat, not engaged, and played like shit. Yeah, because we were tired. We were tired. Shaq Lindsay saying, even if we don't have a center, what about the lack of production off the bench or some from our starters IQ? I mean, we do need to get better production off the bench. You're right. And I've given solutions. And you know what? I think that Darko, once again, should go on the merit system. In some ways, he should be very cognizant during games of who's got the hot hand, who's playing all out, and who's playing really well. So they deserve playing at the end of the game. We did a really interesting lineup in the middle of the game last night. We did quick shed battle Dick formation with Scotty. And that was cool. That lineup was weird. In some ways, I was like, oh man, I don't know if this will work because there's a little bit of a defensive problem with that team. Battle Dick, well, you got them in the corners and you're spacing the floor, and it's wide open for Shed and Quickly and Scott to drive right down the middle. And that lineup actually worked. It was part of the catalyst that got us back, coming back at them. It was very weird to see that. I was like, oh wow, they're doing quick shed and battle Dick at the same time, and Scotty's the fifth guy. Yeah, it was interesting. Now there was a moment in that lineup where Dick and Battle absolutely trapped the other team and forced a turnover, and that works that way because the weakness with that lineup is defense. So as long as Shed and those guys are on top of guys and coming at them, and Scotty's got to be the anchor. He's got to be the end all be all in the corner, in the middle, in the paint, and just catching just in case guys are going around any of those other guys. Because that's a very offensive lineup. Very, very offensive lineup. And I kind of liked it. And I think that there are some people that are criticizing Darko for not using it in the fourth. But, at that point, Grady was ineffective in the fourth quarter. And he needed to not play anymore for the rest of the game. But yeah, that was interesting, and it is a very interesting thing when we have battle Dick formation on the court because it is a very much a floor spacer, very much a floor spacer right there. Yeah. Bryce is saying this: our shooters are shitters right now. Our shooters are shitters. I don't know if IQ is really worth 30 million, third highest paid on the team, and you can argue 4 players are more important towards winning than he is: Scotty, Bi, RJ, and Yak. I mean, this is what happens when you don't have success. Everyone wants to point fingers. Everybody starts dumping on the team, but it's not helpful, Raptors Nation. It really isn't. There's no time to make the decisions on IQ right now. And once again, this is Bobby's world. Yeah, Howie Mandel. This is Bobby's world. This isn't our world. We got to let Bobby make these decisions. Even if we think this from the outside, we've already got IQ on contract, and it's only toxic if we just come at him. He's going to figure this out. In fact, when I've been doubting IQ a little bit in the last few weeks, but in some ways, when I heard what he said after the game last night, I'm like, I don't doubt this guy because in some ways he doesn't want to make any excuses like I am for him, and he's trying, and he has his place in the right heart. His heart is in the right place, I should say. And there's a lot of things with IQ that you guys are going to find out, and then you're going to be like, oh shit, actually he is worth it. I'm telling you right now, I have a funny feeling about this, that in some ways he's working through some stuff right now, but he's going to come out the other side. And in some ways you guys are going to be like, okay, yeah, actually he is worth this contract. This is a lot of the noise right now. In some ways our haters are pushing this narrative because they can see it from the outside. They're going to be like, man, let's get the Raptors fans to hate IQ and just label him as overpaid and underproducing for what he does. And sure, Jack Armstrong called him out for it and said that in the broadcast at the end of the game the other night, saying, IQ, you got to do better if you're making this amount of money. And then that gives fans to pile on him. But I'm not doing this right now, guys. Once again, I'm going to get in between them. And you know what? We need to see them more through the season. There's going to be games like this, seriously. And we can decide how we react to it. If we want to fall apart and be all toxic about it, that's your choice. But I'm going to see it for what it is, and I'm going to stand by my team. And I'm standing by IQ and Scotty right now. And in some ways, you guys want to point fingers. Once again, I say point them at me. I'm taking the bullets today, guys. I'm taking the bullets for the team today because I don't think they deserve this critique that y'all are giving them today. I seriously do not think they deserve this. Seriously. Seymour saying this, Brooklyn, Charlotte turning heads. Bottom feeders are eating now. You know, at some point, I mean, what are you going to do? You going to be the Wizards and just sit down there forever? No, you got to try and have upward mobility in this league. It's just like times with us in the last couple of years, like last year. You know, we snuck up and beat some teams we weren't supposed to beat. And everybody looked at us as a bottom feeder team last year. I mean, that's the whole point of what you're doing in the NBA. You're trying to win, right? And, you know, Jordy Fernandez is a good coach. And you know what? He has to try and keep his job. So he has to show progress, right? So this is the assignment, right? That's what it is. Yeah. Bryce is saying, I'm not slandering IQ. I'm just being realistic. The money can be used elsewhere. Yeah, but that's for Bobby to decide. And I agree with you. But if he decides that and he does that, then we'll say it. But right now, it's not the time. It's the middle of the season. And in some ways, he's in the foxhole with us. And I'm not turning a gun on Emmanuel while he's sitting there right in front of me when we're fighting the same war. That's what I'm saying right now. You know, because in some ways, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sell these guys out. In some ways, Emmanuel is a sensitive guy. And in some ways, we need to value him and root for him because his success is our success. And the more he's more successful, the better it is for the Raptors. If we want to pine and hope that he's just going to be shitty for the rest of the time, so we trade him away because we don't like him, that's not being a fan. And that's not good for our fan nation. We got to be positive and try and hope that the Raptors will come out with a better outcome, better energy, and a better shooting every single game they play. That's what we can do as fans. We can jump on them. We can jump all over them and be toxic and be assholes. But that's the stuff that Fred said is like, look, why are you doing this? And in some ways, it's like the Raptors can separate fans, critics, and trolls into categories. And, you know, I'd rather just be a fan because in some ways I was raised in Florida watching the Florida State Seminoles. And even if the Bobby Bowden and the Seminoles, the football team, was doing shitty, some of the fans were delusionally on their side no matter what. Now, I know people in Toronto are very intelligent. They're very smart people. They have to be tough people to survive in the city of Toronto and to make a living and be able to have that cost of living to survive in that city is very tough. And some of these people are very high standards. And that goes into looking at their sports teams, whether it's the Leafs, the Jays, or the Raptors. And in some ways, it can manifest in toxic, like over nitpicking and micromanaging. In some ways, I was raised in an environment where you're just like for your team blindly. And it doesn't matter how well they do. It doesn't matter how individual players play. You just support them because they're your team. And I get it. In Toronto sports, it's kind of this way. Bryce, you know this. You're from Kentucky. In some ways, you know, I know that people can probably get very hyper-focused on the Kentucky Wildcats basketball team and maybe be a little toxic and talking about it too much. But in a lot of cases, sometimes your football team's not that good, right? But you want to just play and see them do well, and you root for them anyway, right? Kentucky Wildcats are not a top SEC football team. Do they even have a football team? I don't even know. Do they do jack shit in football ever? No, they don't. But they do have fans, right? And they have people that just love that team and just root for them, just like a Cleveland Browns fan is, right? So, you know, there's different levels of fandom. You can be a fan. You can be a critic. You can be a troll. There's different levels. And in some ways, I'm choosing to be a blindly following, I love my team fan today. And in some ways, the critic hat in me, sure, maybe I'm saying a couple little things here and there, but hopefully they're constructive. And hopefully they're helpful for things like, yeah, Raptors, look for the open guy away from the defenders on the court, and hopefully that'll help you do better. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying right now, guys. In some ways, I don't think you guys are slandering. All of the things you guys are saying is fair, but once again, I'm trying to broaden your perspective to see the whole picture, to understand it, so that we're not being toxic as a fan nation to our team right now unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Kareem's saying this. We were not prepared. Nothing else to it. Yeah, because we were tired. Joe Mazzulla is a damn good coach, so that Boston game, I understand. But Brooklyn, nah, fam. Well, I've pleaded my case. I'm sorry if this jury member, Mr. KT, is not He's saying that the Raptors are guilty in the verdict. That's fine. I'm trying to defend them as the public defender for them in this case court here in the RFF court here. And Judge Lawrence is hopefully presiding and watching and seeing what we're saying here. And I'm trying to plead my case as the public defender for the Raptors that are indicted as a team that didn't try, and they're embarrassing. And I'm sorry, jury member Thomas, if I can't win you over on your verdict for the team last night. I'm sorry. I'm trying to give you my closing statements that you can see what I'm trying to say about this, how they're not guilty in the way that you're saying right now. That's right. Bryce is saying, I can't even understand Boston, Kareem. They didn't have Jaylen Brown. Sorry. See, once again, if you're watching the game and you're seeing it all, you can understand this in more depth. If you're just looking at the box score, if you're just looking at who didn't show up and who didn't do that, you're not seeing the whole picture. Because I said this yesterday, Bryce, on the stream. You could easily look at it. They didn't have Tatum and Brown. Why the hell did we lose? That's a very casual, shallow take. That is a team with Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, and they got bigs that are playing way above their experience in the league already, Garza and Queta. So, they're still champions on the Celtics. They still have a good coach. And they still have a certain mentality and a way they do things. And it came through. The Celtics stuff really did kick our ass on Saturday night. And you're right. I'm more mad about the Boston game than the Brooklyn game, guys. And that should tell you something right there. I'm not mad at them for last night. I'm mad at them for Saturday, sure. But that was really my critique is if you're going to get punched in the face, you better be ready to punch them back in the face with physicality and meet their energy and try and beat them. And they didn't do that on Saturday night. I can say that. I agree with that. But not last night. We can't do this about last night, man. We can't do this about last night. We shouldn't be losing to teams that don't have their first and second option. I mean, you're making those rules in your own damn head. It's the NBA. Every game is different, and there's different levels of like how difficult the games are. And sure, from the outside, you could see it that way and be like, oh my gosh, but we didn't have Jakob, we didn't have RJ, so we didn't have two of our players either. And, you can go ahead and say this or this or this. In some ways, that was a trap game also on Saturday night for us, even though it didn't seem like it because Boston was on the second night of back-to-back. Why don't you just put that in too, Bryce? Say, they shouldn't have lost because they didn't have Brown. And they were also playing the Boston Celtics on the second night of a back-to-back, and they were rested. Go ahead and put that in too, Bryce. Why not? Point out all the different ways like here. Pick it apart. Go ahead on Saturday night. Go ahead, but not last night. Not last night. Don't do it last night. I'm going to get in between. But you can go ahead and do it on Saturday night. Sure. They should have beat Boston on the second night of a back-to-back when they weren't on a back-to-back until the next night. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. HC's here. Good to see HC. You know what? I'm going to check in with the fantasy real quick. We will. All right. You want to get this call in now, Stargate? We can do this first. All right. Here we go. We got Stargate on the line, guys. Good morning, Stargate. How are you?
Good morning, Lex.
How are you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing well. So thanks. I'm doing well. Happy holidays.
Thank you. So I'm sure you want to talk about the game.
Yeah. What I really want to talk about is.
Hang on. Make sure you're talking right in the phone. I don't have the mic today because it's all fucked up.
Check. One. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just want to make sure you're clear through because it may not pick up on the computer.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I want you to speak as loud as you can, just in case it's the computer microphone's not as good as my regular mic.
Oh, you have a different mic? Okay.
The regular mic didn't work today. That's why I'm not wearing headphones. I tried to hook it up twice. It was screwing up, so I just said I can't hook it up today. So it's the computer's mic. So
mic. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll try to be a little louder
here. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
So what I'm really calling about is, this whole you going back and forth with a bunch of people in the chat, with saying, it's not a conspiracy theory, and it's because of this, that, and the other. You know what? Just because, certain things exist about, in terms of, we know that the team needs a backup center. We know that the team, there goes, is laying up so a little wonky at times. Well, we know all these things that these people are pointing out, but not just because those things are true doesn't mean that there isn't, a bit of a conspiracy here going on with the league and how the Raptors are thinking. It's not an excuse; it's a fact. We've seen it. I don't know if you guys remember. Maybe some of you are new to the Raptors and new to the team, but we've seen coaches come out in the press after games when they're doing their post-game press conferences, basically making comments like, I don't know if it's a thing why, these referees are calling games like this. We heard Dwayne Casey say it was back after game with Bobcats with Andre Barniani. We've heard Dwayne Casey say it. We've heard, not Dwayne Casey, sorry. We've heard
Sam Mitchell.
Sam Mitchell say it. Yes, that was the first one. Casey said it. And then, Nick Nurse did it as well. Basically making the same comments, 3 different coaches saying, "Oh, I don't know if it's a Canada thing, when we don't get the calls."
Darko, complete crap.
It is true. Sorry?
Darko, it's a complete crap.
Yeah, it's Darko, but Darko didn't really say it, the way those guys did it. Those guys came on and actually said, "Oh, I don't know if it's a Canada thing or whatever." Those 3 guys actually came out and said it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
so, for you guys to sit down and say, it's no, I don't think there's a conspiracy. The coaches are saying it. 3 different coaches, 3 different teams, 3 different times.
the players know it too. The players all know it too. And they talk about it also.
Like, come on, guys.
Stargate, man, I get your point, and I appreciate you coming in and supporting what I'm trying to say here. And I mean, you and I, we talked a lot about whether it's the U.S. media, whether it's a Canada media that favors hockey. There's all kinds of forces out there that want to hurt the Raptors and do not want them to do well. And I mean, I'm just saying, that's why I keep saying, don't be naive. Don't be naive.
But that doesn't mean, right? Just because this conspiracy doesn't mean that the things that are happening on the court aren't true as well. That's what I'm saying.
Man, your phone just keeps dropping off. It's like we're getting half of your sentences and then it's just going quiet. Like, it's really weird.
1, 2. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. You're keeping the phone right up on your mouth, right?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's like we hear the first sentence and then it just goes quieter. And I don't know, it may be technical difficulties. I might not be able to get you clear through the phone right now. But I appreciate you calling in and like trying to support like some of the stuff I'm trying to say. I think what his point is saying like, look, that stuff can be true and this stuff can be true also.
Yeah.
And that there's just you got to factor it all in. Once again, I use the example of the idea of privilege. The Celtics, the Knicks, the Lakers have privilege in this league. They have things set up for them. They get Christmas games. They get schedules that are cushy. They get different kind of things put in their schedule to help them. They have referees that help them in games with foul calls. There is a thing in this world called privilege that's absolutely a real thing because people in this world today feel it in their real lives. Somebody has privilege because they got money. Somebody has privilege because they may be a man and versus a woman. There's all kinds of different privilege in this world. And people have to understand there's privilege in the NBA. And the Raptors, as a Canadian team, do not necessarily have the same privilege as the Los Angeles Lakers or the Boston Celtics. And if you don't see that and you're blind to that, you're naive. And so I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah, just my last point here.
I'm
just gonna say this. Just because one is true, that doesn't mean the other stuff is not true as well, right? That's all I'm saying, right? Just don't completely dismiss what Lex is saying. Just don't completely dismiss it.
I don't think they do totally. I think in some ways they want accountability and they want the team to win. And in some ways they're looking at the players for how they could do better and the coach in the front office. And that's natural to do.
That's true too.
Yeah.
That is true too. That's true.
Yeah.
All that is they're saying is true. But don't just use that and for as a to negate what you're saying. I think that what they're doing is using that truth to negate another truth, which is
okay.
Which is
I get your point.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
All right, you guys take care, man.
All right, Stargate. Always so blessed to have you on the phone today. I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a fantastic Monday, and let's get that G League Cup championship today.
Yeah, they're gonna win, man.
Yeah, let's go. 905, baby. All right. Sorry, Stargate, man. I wish we could have gotten a clear call with him because I love talking to Stargate. It's just that I don't know what it is. There was a weird like drop off, and the mic catches the phone calls way better than just the computer mic. So, yeah. I mean, listen, guys. I want everybody to have their opinions and be able to speak what they want to. I just want to flesh it out and give a more Perspective is all I'm trying to do here. It's all I'm trying to do here. All right, I was going to check the fantasy league because HC just dropped in. Did he stay undefeated this week? Well, yes, he did. He had a very tough matchup with Trucker Kaz, and he beat him, so he's now 9-0. Wow, HC. Wow. I had a very tough matchup with James and ended up beating him to stay only one loss. He had a one loss too. Fiercey won her matchup this week. Looks like Omari beat Cool Cat. Jason Dukes beat Andrew. Kareem, you got your first victory of the season this weekend against Logical Raptors Fanatic. MK, a big winner over Gerald. And then Amit absolutely trounced Nins in the fantasy league. Just a real quick fantasy checkup with our fantasy league results from this past week. We started a new week this week, so get your lineup set. That's what I'm saying. HC saying this: these games are killing me. I know we're so much better. Back issues that Jakob is having are very concerning. No way that can be fixed during the season. The worst part of the body to heal. What's confusing because the word is he doesn't need any surgery. He doesn't need a procedure. It just needs to be managed. And I know that can be frustrating to people. I know that some people that already kind of had a proclivity to throw Jakob under the bus and say we need a different player are really relishing this because they can say, "Oh, he's broken, he's hurt, he's no good for us." I hate this shit. I hate this shit. We don't know how Alex Silver can change and fix Jakob Pertl in this season and help him. In some ways, who knows what it is exactly? In some ways, they're not disclosing this completely, the whole nature of it. And they're just kind of saying, we don't want to shut him down, is what they said. We don't need to shut him down. We're just taking it a day by day basis. And it's really how he feels in the moment, whether it's that hour, that day, that all that kind of stuff. And I know it's frustrating because you guys want to see him out there. But also at the same time, last year he took a big chunks of games out and he wasn't around. He's playing more this season, honestly. He's played in more games this season at this point, up until this point from last year, I believe. So, we got to take the good and the bad. And once again, we're improving, we're progressing. Even if we have a couple steps backward with losses and losing streaks here and there, we've got to look at the big picture once again. How many games did we win last year? How far along are we now? How much are we above 500? Sure, I hate seeing us slip in the Eastern Conference standings to the 6th spot underneath Orlando last night. But still, we got to say, where is the progress? It's there. It's there. It's very evidently there from last year. And we got to stop chicken littling and taking away those kind of achievements and progression towards being more successful just because of short-term losses. We've got to understand our position in the league is much better. All of a sudden, we are a winning team, and we will be a playoff team this year. We've got to ride through the ups and downs of the NBA season and keep it all in perspective. Once again, the big picture. The Raptors are a winning team above 500, and we're in a playoff spot right now. Why the fuck are y'all so upset? Seriously. Seriously, because we lost the Nets, you're going to go all crazy about that? Okay, fine, do it. But why not look at the whole thing once again and see we're in a good spot and we can compete, and we are trying to compete in the Eastern Conference to a certain level. Now, whether we're successful in the playoffs, where we land at the end of the year, in some ways we're still a young core that's building up, and there are other teams in our conference that are a bit more ready to win a championship. So we have to keep things in realistic perspective, but also understand that we are moving in a positive direction, even if you guys don't think so because of last night. That's just an aberration, and that was a very specifically fucked up game. That's the whole point of my stream today about it. That was very specifically a fucked up game right there, man. Really, really fucked up game. That's right. Nako's saying this: the Magic only picked Mo Bamba because he was named after the Sheck West song. Okay, Gerald hadn't been here for a while, and he just drops in, and he's not criticizing anybody. He just wants to make a joke. All right, Gerald, I'm going to give you a dunk for hilarity and a little bit of levity in this, people are in this court case today. It's like Gerald came to the stand. I called Gerald as a witness, and he took that opportunity just to tell a joke. What a comedian. Of course, Nako the Nacho is going to do that. All right, I'm going to give you a dunk, Nako. That's why his name is that. Now, did they do that song because of him? That seems more likely. That seems more likely. Which came first, chicken or the egg? I think that Mo Bamba is older than that song, isn't he? So maybe they did it as a song. I don't know. 98 is the dunk total for Nako at this point. Now, news Kareem Isaac was on fire during the 905 game yesterday, and he kind of overtook you on the dunks right now. So this isn't the time to wallow and be all feeling about the Raptors' losses. You need to get funny again because I think Isaac is beating you on the dunks currently right now. He absolutely slam dunked some crazy ass shit during the 905 chat yesterday, and he is at you're at 30-33 yourself, and Isaac is currently at 335. So he has a 2-point lead over you right now. I thought you had cleared him, but he was so funny in the chat yesterday that he jumped ahead of you all of a sudden with a huge 30-point dunk. I forget what he said, but it was really funny. Yeah, so just so you know, FYI, Kareem, you're down 2 to Isaac, and right now he's sitting on the dunk championship. So you got work to do in the last few days of 2025 if you want to get back over him. Seriously, man. Yeah, Kareem saying, laugh out loud. Nako, now that song is in my head. There you go. There you go. HC saying, by the way, holding strong, 9-0, got a little smile. Ain't gonna lie. You should. That's a great achievement. This is a very competitive league. You've beaten me, and you've now beaten Kaz, who's very competitive and a very good fantasy player. So yeah, you're going through the fire, HC, and you are definitely the number one team in our league right now. So you keep going. I ain't hating on that, and I will play you again before the end of the season, which is going to be fun. So yeah, when we get the next rematch, I'm going to try and still only have one loss, and that loss is from you. That loss is from you. I have not been beaten by anybody else except for you this season. So yeah, we're going to have a rematch later on the season. You keep going strong so we can see each other with the top records at that point. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying, with all due respect, we have to stop being victims of our own actions. We have always been the underdog, but we rose above it. Example, the DeMar and Kyle years. I'm exactly with you guys on that. I don't know if we're victims of our own actions, though. How are we victims in our own actions? I don't know. I don't think we're victims at all. I don't want to play like we're victims. Sure, I may say this and this and this about this and conspiracies, but I don't feel like we're victims. It's just that the odds are stacked against us, and we're fighters like DeMar and Kyle. And it's like we know this assignment. The route to get to success in Toronto is harder than the Lakers, the Knicks, or the Celtics. They'd love for them to be successful and do stuff. In fact, their toxic dysfunctions have held them back from success in decades in the NBA at different times. And when they do get things right, well, the red carpet's rolled out for them to walk right down it. Meanwhile, when we get things really right most of the time, we're fighting against the wall every time. But I'm not going to say we're victims for that. We're just in a harder game to play than other people, and we have to go that much above and beyond to be successful. So yeah, I'm not going to use a victim mentality here. Some people may say you are because the way you're making excuses and saying the league's out to get you. No, I'm just reading the realistic parameters. I still believe in my team, and much like Masai said, I believe in this team will win another championship, even if people down there do not want that ever happen again. Well, we got to be like 905 and strong arm this shit and just take it. Go against everything like Andrew Jones and those guys are doing, and hopefully they'll do it tonight. Hopefully they'll do it tonight. I believe in them, and I hope they will do it because a perfect 17-0 making G League history and running the gauntlet in this part of the season is not going to be easy to match ever again. And I want this for our franchise. And even if nobody toots the horn for this, Raptors Nation will know that the Raptors 905 in 2025 were one of the most badass Raptors teams ever in the history of our franchise, even if it's G League. 2017 G League championship with Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and Jakob Poeltl. That's something. A 2019 championship with the Raptors. Woo-wee, that is definitely something. But this is something also. And this is a nice achievement. And we want to add it to the trophy case. So go out there and get it, Coach Jones, tonight. That's what I'm saying, man. What happened to our next man up mentality? Well, the next guys up are young and they're puppies, and they're not playing at the NBA level to meet it and match it and compete with it. And, well, it's kind of like sink or swim, Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter. You guys got to go do it, or you're going to not be in the NBA soon. Watch. That's how it works right there. That's right. That's right. Bryce is saying no. The Sheck West song was named after Mo Bamba. That's what I was thinking. I think Gerald's just joking because I was like, the timeline of this isn't right. This is like chicken or egg thing, and Bryce is setting it straight. I'm gonna give Bryce a dunk for factual fact checking and telling him set him straight, Gerald. I'm sorry, Gerald. You get the laugh joke dunk, and Bryce is getting the factual joke. So 30 on the dunk charts for Bryce Lawson. That's the number of franchises in the NBA. 30. That's right. That's right. Medved Ted's in the chat this morning. Good to see Medved Ted. I saw Dennis Schroeder's game-winning shot against Houston. Dennis, when he was in Toronto, averaged 14 points on 44 field goal, 35 free throw, three-pointer, and 85 on free throws shooting splits. IQ is averaging 16 on 45, 36, and 75 shooting splits. Yeah, that's not that much different. That really isn't. That's slightly up in the field goals, a little bit lower on the free throws. And you're talking about price. No, I get that. And I understand why you're doing this comparison. You know, my Christmas carol on Saturday morning, on Christmas morning, I want y'all to hear it, okay? Because in some ways, this will be my reply to what you just said. So hopefully you'll join me just for a second on Christmas. I'm going to have a 5-minute song that I sing, and that's it. I'm not doing a regular show. That's how I do Christmas tradition. I do want to keep my streak and do a show on Christmas, but to take the day off, I do a 5-minute song. I don't do chat. I get in, I get out, and I give you a gift for the year. In the past, we've done this 12 Days of Christmas, according to Masai Ujiri. We've done OG, Let's Go Man, to the song Frosty the Snowman. We did O Tannenbaum last year, an ode to Larry Tannenbaum, the last year of him owning the team. I sang a very, very great parody song of O Christmas Tree, O Tannenbaum, in his honor. We did the first Noel for Marquise Noel, singing a song about Noel, Noel. Yeah, this is my tradition. And we will have a Christmas parody song on Christmas morning. And this song will be for Mr. IQ, guys. And I have my response to you guys about Emmanuel on Christmas Day. So please wait and check in. I won't be live. It'll only be 5 minutes. So please come in and check out my song I'm preparing for you guys. I'm training how to sing it. And it's going to be awesome, guys. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And it'll have the reply for this, what you're talking about right here. We're paying IQ 5 years, 163 million for the same level of production Schroeder is giving us on 2 years, 25 million. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true for right now, but we can change this very fast. And hopefully we'll just have to see how it goes. Bobby's the GM, and well, the decisions on IQ are going to be made when he makes them. And in some ways, I'm not trying to tell Bobby to get rid of anybody on our team right now. If there's different parameters and different things that come up and the opportunities are there and what he does, well, we'll just have to see what kind of GM he is. But once again, I'm not getting pitchforks and torches and coming after Mr. Quickly. That's not what I do. That's not what I want to do here. That's right. It's like DZ saying Raptors deserve the purple hat treatment after that performance. No, I'm not doing it, man. I know you want me to. In some ways, the purple hat's out in the studio. And I don't want to go outside. But I'd rather support the team that's kicking ass right now and wear the 905 hat because we won yesterday. And we're going to win today, too. So, yeah, no purple for today. We're winners. And we're going to be Winter Cup winners, too, today. That's what we're doing. Yeah. Smooth saying once your back starts to go, it never heals. You just have to manage it. That's the reality. Yeah, I'm lucky and blessed. At my age, I don't have a bad back. You know, my dad's had his back go out at times, and I can see where it just kind of makes you incapacitated for a day where you just can't do jack shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe we can get some new age therapy. I've seen a Jakob in the cryogenic chamber, and we do have a Naismith nominated Hall of Fame doctor of medicine science, and Dr. McKechnie. So I don't know. We're gonna do whatever we can to help Yak in the best we can. But once again, everybody's saying we don't need Yak, we don't need IQ because this and this, they're holding us back. I don't like this. And time is still on the clock, and we still have time for these guys to shape up and do stuff, get healthy, and kick major ass for the Raptors. A lot of season to go, guys. A lot of season to go. Yeah, Jakob's injury is a chronic one, in my opinion. Okay. There's a super fan Mo saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Let's go 905. Get that money. Unacceptable game last night. Only credit I give is IQ. I'm accepting it, Mo. I'm giving him a pass. I'm giving him a pass. And I'm saying if you guys want to get mad at the Raptors, get mad at me instead. Get mad at the Raptors Freak. Go ahead. I'll take the bullets today. Yeah, I'm going to protect them. I'm sorry. I'm not mad at the Raptors for last night. I understand just how much they were up against it. and they did the best they could with the amount of gas in the tank. And that's all we could do last night. You can say it's unacceptable. It was absolutely the plan of the league for that outcome to happen last night. Once again, I'll say the presence of Scott Foster is all you need to know, that they were not going to let the Raptors win that game. No way, no how. We could have been close and could have had the lead with a minute to go, and they would have screwed us over by calling a foul on one of our Raptors and put the Brooklyn Nets on the line to hit free throws and manufacture a win for the Nets. They were not going to let us win last night. I hope y'all really understand this, that the NBA mandated the Raptors are losing to the Nets on December the 21st, no matter what. And we're going to make sure it happens. We're going to make sure with the schedule, and we're going to make sure with a man named Scott Foster being the crew chief of the referees last night. That's right. Thank you, Judge Lawrence. I hope that I've pleaded my case correctly in this court of law of opinion of the Raptors and how they did last night in the game. Please, Judge, I ask you, Your Honor, to please hear my case. And your ruling on this case, if you could adjudicate on whether we're going to give the Raptors a pass for getting into New York at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning and playing at 6 p.m. on the same day. Can we even that's insidious on the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year. And that's not even a 7:30 start. It's a 6 p.m. start, which is even weirder and tougher on that note too, guys. Shaq Lindsay saying, we all know that Sandro is not a center, or playing Scotty at center is going to limit his production. Why can't the front office see this? The reason Rodgers doesn't care if we win or lose because, hang on, it just stopped there. I mean, we got to fix this. Yeah, I agree. And in some ways, look, these guys are doing their best. They're trying. I don't know. We could talk about this ad nauseum. We obviously need a big. I agree with that. We are all right on that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Kareem's saying this: you're back strengthening and rest. That's it. Will Lose said it perfectly. We could have rested Yak for 2 weeks after the cup, but we kept putting him in practices, not giving him a chance. Well, we don't know. Like, once again, guys, we are such experts in opinions. And I know I extrapolate and predict and say stuff that's absolutely wrong, that I just think and I'm inferring from the outside. And we're doing this right now with this. We don't understand exactly how Yak feels on different days. And it could very well be these days he got up and he feels like $1 million and he feels like he could play for us. Now we're going to waste our life and say, oh, Jakob, you know what, you feel like you're good, but you can't. Dr. Alex probably knows what he's doing. And in some ways he's monitoring this and he's saying, like, yeah, his back seems okay right now. If he wants to play, let him play. I mean, Will Lou making up shit like, oh, they could have sat him for 2 weeks and done this. He doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. He's just talking out his ass. Like, he's not in the fucking medical room with the cryogenics and Dr. Alex and Jakob. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Don't take Will Lou for what he said. Seriously, Kareem. Seriously, he doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. I'll just say that again for emphasis. Seymour saying this is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Bobby, please get another big. There you go. That's pretty good, Seymour. I like that. You just gave me a good musical interlude there, and it's good. All right, Seymour is 264 right there. That's right. I like that. You got me doing the Jack Armstrong, the Christmas carols, that right there. Kareem saying, and yes, Yak's back is chronic. This is dating back from last year. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're reporting to me. We're just going to manage it. We're going to do our best. Well, they're saying that this may not be something that bothers him later this year. I don't know. Once again, it's all very mysterious, just like Shamshay is very mysterious. Shaq Lindsay saying, we are victims of our own demise. Rodgers has it in for us. I don't know if that's true either. Now, I don't want to believe that, because that has been the doomsday thing of knowing that Rodgers is going to take ownership of our team from years ago. Oh, no, and it's going to be all over then. Larry, we need you. We need you. I don't know. I mean, the signals with Rodgers and him and Keith Pelly is that they are trying to make our teams win. The Blue Jays are a good sign. The Leafs, what happens with them are kind of a good sign, for whether they are actually trying to be competitive. Also, the investment of money in players is a good sign that Rodgers does want us to compete and do well. I don't think he's going to try and hold us back. I don't see the signs yet, guys. I don't see the signs yet. You could argue, oh, he already held us back because we didn't re-sign Siakam and all that. But no, that was just a weird transition period where they needed to do things a certain way as far as things. And it did make sense kind of let go of those guys and get into the Scotty era. So, I mean, I'm not willing to say this for sure, that Rodgers is holding this back. I'm not willing to say that yet. I'm not. Slug Easy saying Jeff Teague said it best. Ain't nobody in America care about the Raptors. Harsh reality of what we're up against. Yeah. Yeah. It's well, that's not totally true because Bryce Lawson's here right now. We know Paul B cares about us in Milwaukee. We know Mr. Nins in Philadelphia cares about us. We know that we have Raptors fans all across the country. In fact, we have a special brand of fan for the Raptors, underdog mentality. A lot of us are underdogs in our own life, and we relate to the Raptors in their position. And in some ways, that's a badass bond. That's why we're so passionate for this team. That's why we find people all around the world because there's people in the United States that could be watching the NBA and be like, why don't we ever see the Raptors? Why are they dissing the Raptors all the time? And they identify with that. And they're kind of like, you know what? I'm a Raptors fan now because they're shading the Raptors on TV all the time in the States. Fuck that. I like that team. They're fun. Scotty's cool. You know, that's how we get fans a lot of times too, is partly because people inside of it all see it and they're like, you know what? I identify with them more because they're going the harder route and they're the underdogs. And in some ways, that dog mentality is why we got to get people like Jamal Shed, Elijah Martin, Fred Van Vliet, guys that have their chips on their shoulder and they have to go above and beyond through the bullshit to get success in a harder route than other people that want the easy route. Go ahead, go play for the Knicks. It's an easier route. Trust me. It's an easier route in some ways. That's right. That's right. That's right. Seymour Sand, laugh out loud. Association against five is deep. Like, laugh out loud. I know. That's what it was. I was calling it in the chat. I didn't even mince words. And the announcer could see it. I said, this isn't 8 versus 5. This is association versus 5. And his call got more neutral after that. I'm serious. That motherfucker could read what I was saying. And they will tonight, too. And that's how we can help them. Get in the YouTube chat tonight for 9:05 against Salt Lake City. And if the announcer's calling it like the Salt Lake City Stars have already won it, we call them out on it. And we say, no. We have pride. We're the undefeated team. Y'all better be talking like we're the favorite to win because we're the number one seed. And we are the undefeated team. And if they start calling it like, oh, Salt Lake City is going to cruise to this win, call them out in the chat like I will be doing tonight. And watch. They'll start calling it more neutrally. And they'll start calling it a little bit from our perspective also. We can shame them. In some ways, it's just ignorance and naivete that these guys on the announce crews just don't think anybody cares about the Raptors, like Slug Deezy just said. We'll show them. Come into the chat and say, hi, I'm a Raptors fan. And look at all these Raptors 905 fans from the RFF that are in here with me. And look how much they're all passionate and care about these Raptors. And we're going to call you out for calling it one-sided for Grand Rapids Gold. And well, that announcing changed over the course of the game. They were very much sucking the dick of the Grand Rapids Gold for the beginning of the game, glazing like crazy. And as the game went on, well, he started saying Jonathan Mobo correctly, even though he's mispronouncing the hell out of his name at the beginning of the game, because he saw us teaching him how to pronounce his name. He saw us caring about the 905. And he said, well, there are people watching me right now that absolutely do care about the 905. I better maybe call in their favor a little bit just for that audience. I'm telling you right now, seriously, we had a difference in this in the chat in some ways. And I know that didn't have anything to do on the court because they can't hear it or see any of that. But we were helping at least with the announcing to be a little bit more less biased. That's right. That's it right there. You know what? Stargate saying I'm just going to keep quiet, but he didn't. He called me and he put his 2 cents in. I appreciate you calling, man. I appreciate you calling. Milbester's here. Holy crap, guys. Here we go. I want to see what Milbester's saying. Nick's fan is here. You guys can't even complain about IQ. You guys have to appreciate that contract you gave him because he's a starter on any team. And Nick's went with Brunson and Leon is his godfather. I mean, I'm kind of understand what I'm laying off IQ. I'm not going to go at him at all. I know there's enough people in Raptors Nation doing that right now, and it's not necessary right now. We got to let them have time to get out of it. And well, I'm just saying, I believe in my Emmanuel, and I'm going to believe he's going to pull this out in the end. He's going to get this right. Cream saying this, laugh out loud, Seymour. It's Cinco de Mayo all over again. Mexico beating the French 500 men against 3,000. Think about it. Oh, you're talking about Mexican war at this point? Holy crap. Why are you bringing that up? Fiercely saying, no conspiracy, in my opinion, unless the players were told to play mid, real backup center and our guys hitting the shots. That's what we need. You're absolutely wrong, Fiercely. You're absolutely wrong. There is a damn conspiracy. You don't want to believe it? You don't want to believe that back-to-back, that schedule is a conspiracy and Scott Foster is a conspiracy. That's it right there. And then they even did a little weird, like, we're going to flash Vince Carter on you guys and show you some stuff to fuck with the fans' minds at home. Seriously, you don't want to believe it? You don't have to. You can be naive to it. You go ahead. Seymour saying gifts, Bobby, gifts. Yeah, we want some gifts. We want some bigs. That's right. There's Trucker Kaz. Good morning, Lex and the Rapid Free crew. Good morning to you, sir. You're on the road again, but you're going to be off the road again soon because it's the holiday season coming up and you could get some days off. Speaking of Canadian goods, straight goods and Canadian goods, we got Crofters today. You know, I pushed the Crofters jam a few times. You don't need Smuckers. You don't need nothing like that. This is a Canadian brand made by Canadians here in Canada, nothing to do with the United States. So go get Crofters jam. We got strawberry and raspberry right here. And it's great stuff. And you support Canadian industry, more Canadian jobs. You buy this instead of the regular jam that you've been buying that's American. You will help create more industry and economy for Canada and keeping the money here on this country. So yeah, Crofters, look them up. If they don't have them at your grocery store, ask for it and say, hey, I'd like you to carry Crofters with the black bear on it. This is a great company. I fully endorse it. This jam is awesome. It's so good. And it is from here in Ontario. So definitely get that local support for Canadian goods. That's right. That's right. Seymour's laughing. Salute to Kaz. Shaq Lindsay saying, when the Raptors were generating more attention than the sorry ass Leafs, Rogers probably didn't like that. Now they are struggling. What are they going to do? Probably nothing. I don't know if this is true. So listen, we got, in some ways, we are waiting on Bobby. We really are. We've been waiting on him for like a month. But in some ways, we didn't, realistically, when we saw the need for the big, was way before we could actually do anything about it. But now we're in the period where we could do something about it. But I will say this, most of the stuff that happens out of Winter Showcase and this week happens after today. Because honestly, they have to go through the whole period where all the execs, the scouts, the people from all the different teams watch all the players from the showcase, because this is a big tryout. It's like American Idol. And they're all getting in front of everybody and they're sitting at the table and watching, drinking their little Coca-Cola cups. And, that's the whole thing. It's like when this is over, they'll analyze things. And who knows? Bobby hopefully will make a move immediately, hopefully for Christmas. And you guys are exactly right. And we see something happen for the roster to help us in the situation we're going through right now. I mean, I get it. Shaq Lindsay, I worry about that conspiracy that Rogers doesn't want the Raptors to be more popular than the Leafs or the Blue Jays, and he'll artificially hold them down from within. But we can only go by what we do and what we're trying to do. And there's different levels to that. And we can hope and pray that that's not true, is what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Isaac's here. Sometimes you want to just dunk on America before they dunk on themselves. That's right. That was what your dunk was. It was something crazy. What did you say yesterday? It was so good, Isaac. It was like so well crafted. He wrote a joke in the chat yesterday that I was saying he wrote a joke like it was Seinfeld, like he was a comedian. He crafted it with the words and it had a setup and it had a real payoff. It was so good. It was so good. Oh yeah, it was about canceling Rogers. That's what he said. That's what he said something crazy about Rogers. And I was like, holy shit, Isaac, that was beautiful. That was like a well-crafted joke. He wrote it just like a comedian would. It was so good, Gerald. You'd be proud of him, man. That's right. Salute to Seymour. Shaq Lindsay saying, what IQ are we talking about? The one that started the season or showed up in the third quarter, or the one we saw the past couple games? I don't know. Which IQ are we going to see on any given night? I don't know. Like you guys know, a couple days ago, I advocated possibly for trading IQ to get a big and graduating Shed to the starting lineup. And I'm not totally against that, but I want IQ to get more of a chance. And it's not up to me whether we do that or not. But if Bobby did that, I wouldn't be upset. But also at the same time, it's kind of like, where's IQ's value right now if he's not playing his best right now? So I don't know. We got to figure this out, man. I got to figure this out. All right. Milbester, I'll humor you because it is about IQ. We wouldn't be where we are today if we signed Brunson. Our team would have still been good with IQ, but we wouldn't be a championship level team like we are today. But anyway, how was the weekend, Lex? Okay. It was pretty good. I like that 905, what they're doing. But yeah, the weekend with the Raptors has been shitty, Milbester. That's what you're asking. Shaq Lindsay saying, love IQ, but again, we need to stop making excuses and be accountable. Yeah, and I know IQ's himself is going to be accountable. He doesn't want to make excuses himself. And, well, hopefully he'll turn the corner and he'll start doing things the way we want him to do, the way he wants to do, and the way that Darko and Bobby want him to do. So we just – hopefully this will happen. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to make excuses, but today I have to for the team just to protect them from the fan nation. That's just what I got to do. In some ways, I got to be information for Raptors fan nation. Some people can watch me today, and hopefully I can help them see the whole big perspective in what I said earlier. That's all. That's all I'm trying to do here. Kareem saying, guys, let's stop with all the conspiracies. There's no way you watched that game and blamed it on schedule or refs manipulation. No, I'm blaming it on them being tired, and those other things are just the other things to safeguard it. You go ahead. The tiredness is from the schedule. If you can't see that, Kareem, come on, man. Come on, man. You just want to be mad. You just want to be mad. You are enjoying being the rage, anger mode right now. If you want to be raging and hangry and all this kind of anger, just stop. Seriously, stop. Just see it for what it is. I told you last night, you got to chill, bro. You got to chill. You can't let your emotions ride up and down with the team so closely. It's dangerous. It's toxic. I lost a marriage because of it. Trust me. I learned the hard way. If you're going to be really angry and pissed off because the Raptors lose, you're going to lose things in your life that's not good. You don't want to do that. Seriously. I seriously did partly lose my wife, my marriage because of the Raptors and being so pissed off and drunk after games and throwing things and just acting really toxic. So seriously, I'm telling everybody out there, it's not worth it to get all bent out of shape and have anger, depression, sadness about the Raptors winning and losing. You guys aren't on the team. You're not in life or death situation because of the Raptors. Just keep it all in perspective. I want them to win, but after the game was over, I was like, okay, I can't control that. I went on with my life and I did other things for the rest of the night. And I didn't stew in it. I didn't get all pissed off. I didn't do all this. No, I was upset in some degree because I wanted them to win, but I was like, I can't control that. It's the serenity prayer for an alcoholic. What can you control and what can't you control? You can't control whether the Raptors are going to win or not. So why the fuck are y'all getting so emotional and crazy about it? You put yourself in that position yourself, and that's your choice. It's not the Raptors' fault. It's your fault for feeling those feelings and doing it the way you did it. It's not. You got to be mature about this. You got to be emotionally mature about this. Is what I'm saying. That's it right there. That's it right there. Let's see. All right, Smooth saying, Lex, stop it respectfully. This is getting tired. Well, this is what my stream is, and I've been doing this for 4 years now. And on some days, I don't know why it's tired. I'm not tired. I've been doing this stream for so long. I'm not tired like they are. In some ways, I was saying that to them last night. I was like, man, I've watched so many Raptors games this season between 905 and the Raptors. I do this grind every day. I do the research. I do all the things I do for this channel. I'm grinding just like they are. In some ways, it's like you're getting tired of it. Well, you're just listening to me. I'm doing this channel and I'm not tired of it. I'll do what I do. And if I say things that you guys don't agree with, well, that's good because we shouldn't all agree all the time. That's what I'll say right there. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying Brooklyn has the worst defensive rating in the league. How the hell we only put up 80 points? When you have no legs, you can't finish shots. You can't shoot properly because your legs aren't there to be underneath you to push the ball fast enough to go. I mean, how many of us have played basketball? How many of us have ran like crazy all day for 8 hours, and at the end of the day, you have nothing? I mean, I've done that many times in my life. I used to play like 8 hours a day when I was very young, all the time. It's like 6 days a week. I was crazy. I played so much basketball in a certain period of my life that I know what it's like to have absolute exhaustion on a court where you can't fucking make a single damn shot because you're just done. Your body's done. And that's where our guys were last night. I wish you guys could understand this. If you haven't been in that position on a basketball court to understand how your body will just not make shots and do things at a certain point because you just pushed it to the limit, that's what this is, guys. This is the NBA. This is the hardest league in the world. And every team is good. I don't care which of the 30 teams it is. And you can look at, oh, they were this on the defensive rating and this. Why didn't they do that? It's because they were in a plane at 4:30 yesterday morning, and they didn't get their hotel till then. And they probably didn't even fucking sleep. I'll bet you money there's at least half the Raptors did not even take a single wink of sleep between the Celtics game and the Brooklyn game. And they were running on fumes and delirious and up all night. Seriously, guys, that's probably true. And if you think about it from that perspective, the fact that they even got out on the court and were able to kind of see in one direction, That's kind of an achievement because then you get to that point where you're deliriously tired and your body gives out on you and you cannot physically perform and the other team's fresh and they're pushing. And then you have the frustration level of the refs being absolute jackasses. It can be very demoralizing. It can be very hard to do. But like you said, credit to our guys. We kept fighting. Even if it didn't look like fighting to you guys, understand they were trying their asses off. And you guys can go ahead and say, nah, Lex, you're wrong. They didn't try hard enough. They needed to dig deeper. Man, that's easy for y'all to say. And you have no idea how hard it was for them. That's what I'll say right there. That's what I'll say right there. Medved Ted saying, Milbester, championship level, we have one center who has intermittent back spasms. Our backup point guard runs the point better than our starting point guard. Our star player has games where he looks sleep deprived. He was last night. That's for damn sure. Oh, you're talking about Brandon? Kareem saying, Lex, I love you and wholeheartedly. We need to stop blaming everyone outside the locker room. No, not tonight. Not for today. I'll blame them when I feel like we should. And you know I will. But not today. I'm giving them a pass. And I'm going to stand firm on this. And we can agree to disagree. But I hope that you guys can get a little bit of my perspective and kind of maybe think a little bit about it more deeply and understand why. Sure, I'm making excuses for them. Sure. I don't, in an ideal world, we don't want to make excuses and we just want to win. I get all that. I'm with you on that. But you guys got to understand that no excuses, Smooth. All right, I'm giving you excuses. You don't want them? Well, you know what? You don't want to watch me today? That's fine. I hope you'll come back tomorrow. That's what I'll say. That's right. The fucking Nets, man. I get it. You guys keep saying it's the Nets, but this isn't the same Nets that we beat when I went to the game on Donald Ingram's ticket a couple Sundays ago. This isn't the same Nets. Give credit to Jordy. They're playing better these days. They've actually been winning more games lately. So once again, let's not have casual takes, casual shallow takes, and just say it's just the Nets, guys. We should never lose to them. The Hornets and the Nets have improved, and that's part of the reason why we've lost to those teams in the recent past. And you don't have to believe me. You can understand it if you like open your eyes and watch these teams. They're playing way better than they used to. Let's just put it that way. G's saying this. I said it before. Yak needs proper rest and rehab. A game here and there is not going to do it. You can't heal an injury like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, I don't know. Get him a memory foam mattress. I don't know. Get him a massage 8 hours a day. I don't know. They're going to do whatever they can, right? We are a billionaire owned team that has all kinds of resources. We got Dr. Alex, a Hall of Fame nominated medical guy. I'm sure that we're doing the best we can with Yak, and we just need to trust that, guys. And hopefully the outcomes will be better for him and IQ in the near future. That's what we want right there. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying, okay, I hear you about sleep deprivation, but all seasons we've been seeing we need to see more from our bench. I know. It is frustrating. The bench is very frustrating, and it's pissing me off because these guys have these chances to really make a name for themselves and grow as NBA players, and they're failing. And I hate it because I know I want Grady to have his NBA career. But in some ways, he's not an NBA player. And sadly, I think that I fucking was exactly right when I scouted him. When I did my scout on Grady, before we drafted him, I said we should not draft Grady Dick. I said that because he's not an NBA player. He doesn't have an NBA body. And in some ways, look, you take away the great shooting that he showed in the first 2 years, he sucks. He has no place in the league. You have to make threes, Grady, to stay in this league. And when you're missing your threes, you're missing your way right on out the league. And I hate that. I hate being right about Grady. I don't want to see him end his career in like 3 or 4 years. You know what I'm saying? He probably won't. He'll probably get to some point. Maybe he'll play 6 years, 7 years in the league. I don't know. But you going this way, Grady, you're going to find your way out of the league. And it's because you're not making your open threes and you're not hustling all out like you used to. You do show signs of it at times, but we need that right now. You're a big part of who we should have as our bench, Grady Dick. You should be our 6th man of the year candidate because you're so badass off the bench right now. But that's not the case, is it? It's Sandro. And what about Jacoby? Well, he's on that scale going towards Grady Dick. In some ways, he's a little bit more salvageable. There may be possibilities that Jacoby can still have an NBA career, but there's no guarantees for him either. And in some ways, he doesn't need to mess around with his career either. That's what I'm saying, man. Medved Ted saying at G, I read somewhere they might be looking to trade Yak. He's trade eligible January 7th, Maybe they're just trying to showcase him. Those AD Gafford Sabonis rumors. Yeah, I don't believe many of those. And once again, we are having such a hard time attracting centers to our team. When we do have a bona fide good center, we need to covet him and keep him. And all signs show, why would we put an extension on him for this many years if we didn't value trying to keep him in this team with us? And the other thing I'll say about Yak is, once again, his chemistry with Scott has been built up for a couple years now. And that is part of the rebuild. That's part of getting to the next level. And you put so much time and effort in with Yak, that's kind of like keep them with Scott because they do have a chemistry that's already built. And you start over when you bring in a new guy. In some ways, some of the work we've been building in the rebuild, and people are so impatient. Well, you reset a bit when you reset your center. It's just like if you reset your coach, you reset a bit and you have to start over. So it would be like that. And that's why I was saying, like, if he's able to figure it out and Dr. Alex can fix this, we don't want to lose Yak, guys. We want him to do his full contract here in Toronto as long as he's healthy and he's able to be available for sure, because he's got a lot of time with Jakob, with Scott, and they have a good chemistry. That's undeniable. He has a good chemistry with RJ and Emmanuel also. So I'd say that. Bryce saying, I can't give our guys the benefit of the doubt. I feel like they should have been ready. IQ said no excuses, so I can't look at this as a scheduled loss. We knew we had it back to back. All right, that's fine. That's your personal choice. It's not like we flew across the country. We went from Toronto to Brooklyn. I know that seems like that, but why the hell did they land their plane at 5 a.m.? Seriously. I mean, I think they got in at 2:45, and then you're on a bus from 2:45, and you don't get to the hotel till 5 a.m. Normally, when they do this trip, Bryce, without the mechanical failure, they're in their beds by 3. Instead, they were in their beds by 5. So that's 2 hours of sitting around on the plane in limbo. And I'm suspicious of that shit in itself. I won't go full conspiracy theory and say somebody fucked with the plane just to fuck the Raptors up for the game, but that is the effect that it had. I mean, I get it. You don't want to give your guys the benefit of the doubt. That's up to you. But I am today. And hopefully more people can see what I'm seeing and maybe start thinking like I'm thinking. But I don't have to win all y'all guys over. IQ doesn't want to say any excuses because he's a man. And in some ways, he doesn't want to use those excuses because in some ways, he's thinking the same way as you. But also at the same time, is he all upset and heartbroken over it? No, because it's the NBA. You play every game and somebody wins and loses. And often you can be on either side. And in some ways, well, we were on the wrong side of things last night. And you know what? It's not that they want that. They're going to try and change it. They're going to try and fix it. They knew it was a back-to-back, and yeah, and it is a shitty back-to-back. And I know you're saying that's not a far trip, but there's customs involved and mechanical failure. Even if the flight is only like 30 minutes, you're spending so much time at the airport and getting bags together. And, you just played the Celtics, and you're tired already from that. And also a very physical game, and they played very hard against them, but they still lost. That's deflating. And so you don't have any high from winning. You're already feeling kind of down and beat up. Why can't you guys see this whole parameter? What I'm trying to tell you guys about how the settings were for last night. You can say no excuses. I don't believe in conspiracies. Well, okay. Be naive. Be naive to what I see. Be naive to what I see. G saying this. Medved Ted, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure I get back to the right spot. Yeah, and I do need the cutoff. I know we're going to do a Lexathon. In some ways, it's fine. In some ways, we need to because there's a lot to talk about here, and this is important to get this all figured out. Let's see, where is it? Holy crap! You guys really have filled it up today. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let me see. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, at Medved Ted. Here, where is it? Where is it? Personally, I would rather keep Yak and trade some bench pieces, so have a pipeline of bigs. Trading one for another still leaves us vulnerable, in my opinion. And Yak, when healthy, is one of the best screeners. In other words, I am greedy and want more and more bigs at this point. I do too. If the salary cap increases, maybe that $20 million a year will actually look okay as a backup center. Seriously. And maybe we do get another guy that starts instead. And if his back is still a problem, maybe we are going to have to get used to the idea that Yak can't start. And some people say, well, that's too much for a guy who's coming off the bench. I don't know if he's a winning effect and he does certain things. I mean, who's to say who's worth what? Ben Simmons. Come on, guys. Who's to say who's worth what? Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson. Come on now, guys. Everybody's talking about this guy's not worth this money for what he does on this. Well, was Ben Simmons worth any of the fucking money he made in the NBA? Come on now, guys. Come on now. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying conspiracies work in favor of the Nets if they lose. Conspiracies work in the favor of the Nets if they lose? They're definitely on the Nets side. Just trust me on this. What I don't understand that exactly. Smooth saying yes, lack of sleep, but they're professional athletes. They deal with that better than normal people. These are guys who party till 3, 4 in the morning occasionally and can deal with better. I don't know if that's true. Those days of the NBA being like that, if there are players like that, they better be very talented. But I think most of these guys do not do this lifestyle like that anymore. I think that that's a thing of the past. Maybe Brandon's doing it because he's so talented, then he can get away with it. But these young guys, they're trying to have their NBA career. They're not fucking it up by going out and staying out till 4 in the a.m. No, that's not true. That may have been an old NBA thing when they were plumbers or they were just guys who just like, Charles Barkley era and stuff like that. But I don't think that's true about the modern NBA. At least anybody who's actually serious about their careers. They're not doing this kind of shit. They know rest is important. So I can't get behind this. This is absolutely a different body language and way that they played last night than I've never seen ever before. And y'all mistake sleep deprivation for laziness, is what I'm saying right now. So, I mean, you could say this, you can say that. They're not professional, they're not normal people. The other thing that people don't talk about enough, and Fred brought it up on his podcast, is the travel is grinding. Our bodies go through weird things when we're on planes, guys. That higher altitude and ears popping and things with our organs and stuff. We actually, if you fly a lot, it can actually be detrimental to your body. And that's one of the unspoken costs of being an NBA player is that you're absolutely always in planes. And that can actually give you health problems itself. Just being in planes, going up and down in the altitude and your ears popping, all that stuff. Nobody talks about this shit. There's an ad on Fred's Unguarded podcast with Jay Williams, the guy who wrecked his motorcycle and messed up his career. And he goes into it in detail. He said something that fans never talk about in the NBA is the grind and the price we pay as athletes being on planes constantly. Seriously, people that have to fly all the time, it can be bad for your health being on planes all the time. Just so you know, you're putting stress on your body, and it does weird things to your body when you go change like the altitudes, all kinds of stuff. Nobody ever talks about that because everybody has to deal with that in the NBA, and it's an even playing field. But that is a price that athletes pay when they are on the road all the time. Same thing with wrestlers. Same thing with that's often why a lot of people want to just drive buses on tours. Musicians will do buses because the planes can actually be bad for your health. That's absolutely a true thing. You don't believe me? Look into it. Seriously. Look into it. Medved Ted saying at G, yeah, Yak has high basketball IQ and is great in pick and roll. It is a shame he has his back issue. I hope it's nothing serious. Me too. Me too. I see that. Daddy Gates is saying, I hope what you're doing, Kareem. Wait for it. Wait for it. I see what you're doing. He's trying to get me to get crazy. That's funny. G saying this. I agree with you to a point, but there is something we can't deny in that they went top 10 in offensive rating with RJ to 30th without. We struggle with offense. Yeah. No, I'm with that. I'm with that. And like I said, hopefully RJ will come back and it'll fix a lot of the issues and we'll see our offense be much better. But this has been a huge drop off for sure. The offense we had earlier this season was one of the top in the league, and now it's near one of the bottom. And really, RJ is the biggest factor pointing to this. Seriously, it's just we need all the wheels on the car for it to go. And if we're running on 3 wheels and we're missing that 4th wheel, the car's not going very well, is it? No. Stargate like my rant. Okay, cool. Kareem saying, I say do whatever it takes to get Gafford. I mean, Gafford's a great player. If he was on the Raptors, I'd be happy. I don't know if it's realistic where his money's at, but maybe he is the right level of what we need because if Yak is missing, he's definitely a good, solid starting center. So I think it's a good idea if Bobby can work his magic and make it happen. Smooth saying Carter has been working for the Nets for a while. I know. And fuck that guy. Fuck Vince Carter. I'll say that again. Man, I listen, he only came through and kissed some asses and played nice for 1 year just to get his jersey retired. Fuck Vince. I'm sorry. I still feel the same way about him, man. I still do. It's just how it is, man. Jimmy's saying, "Come on, Lex, I'm positive," but like, dude, nah, I'm gonna do that, man. I'm sorry. I'll go in on Vince. I've done it for consistently for 20 years now. I'll do it still. I haven't forgiven him for that bullshit around that time. And I know people are trying to say, no, it wasn't his fault and all that. That's bullshit, guys. That's absolute horse crap. Vince Carter fucked up his career in Toronto just as much as Rob Babcock and his coaches and everybody else did. He didn't properly respect our team, guys, and he still doesn't. He still doesn't properly respect our team. Without the Raptors, he had his best years in his Raptors jersey. It's a very similar thing to Kawhi. You know, people say, oh, Vince put us on the map. We should owe him everything. Motherfucker, he owes us too, because he got a spotlight and he did certain things on our team that was special and unique. And if he did that shit on the Knicks, he did that shit on the Lakers, it wouldn't have been as special because there's so many legends before on those franchises. It wouldn't have looked as crazy. It did look crazy on here because he was an anomaly. Nobody'd ever done that for the Raptors. So in some ways, you can make a case that Vince Carter needed the Raptors just as much as we needed him. And it's a similar thing to Kawhi. Similar thing to Kawhi. Kawhi needed our team to get that championship just as much as we needed him to. Because everybody can say, oh, Kawhi just did it all for you. Bullshit. That's minimizing what Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, Pascal Siakam, Norman Powell, all those guys did. And once again, the platform and the uniqueness of being the first ever well-known player and putting us on the map was something that was virgin and there for the taking for somebody to do it. And if it wasn't Vince Carter, it could have been Tracy McGrady. It could have been later on with DeMar DeRozan. I'm not saying that Vince Carter didn't have a huge effect on our country in basketball. I'm just saying somebody was going to, and he just happened to be that guy. So you guys can go ahead and glaze Vince all day and say, oh, basketball wouldn't be the same in Canada without him. You're right. But he was the lucky guy who got to do that and get that spot. And in some ways, we need to look at the inverse too. Because in his cocky ass mind, he's like, oh, this franchise is nothing without me ever. You know, that's the way he thinks. He's more like Jeff Teague and Boogie Cousins than DeMar DeRozan and Fred VanVleet. I'll just say that. In his personal life and the way he is, he looks down on us. He is not totally with us. He only came through and glazed us for a year so he could get his jersey retired. Has he come in and called our games yet this year? Has he? I don't know. I haven't heard him on Sportsnet with Alvin. Has he? But he's consistently doing the Nets. Yeah, he shows his allegiance. He shows his bullshit. And it was just the same when he came back in a Nets jersey and fucked us up in the playoffs. Fuck him. He's a villain. He's not the childhood idol that I have. I wasn't a child when he was playing. I was an employee at the arena and I saw it all from the inside. And I was there in the building for Vince Sanity. I felt it every single game. I worked every single fucking game. Vince played for the Raptors. I was there in the arena because I was there working. And I know the feeling of Vince Sanity. I know what he did for us. And I also know the other side of it after what all happened. And some people can forgive him. Some people say, you need to get over it. You need to get over it. No. In some ways, this is how I am as a Raptors fan. In some ways, it's like you're with us alumni-wise or you're not, Rudy Gay. Yeah. Antonio Davis, welcome back. I love you, man. It was all a big misunderstanding. Jim Rome is burning. But Vince Carter, in some ways, I'm still shaky on you. And in some ways, you are not doing this exactly right. And when Scotty Barnes tells me that Vince Carter told me I could talk to him for advice anytime, that doesn't make me happy. Because fuck Vince Carter. He may tell Scott, you need to get out of Toronto. Why the fuck would you trust Vince Carter, guys? Seriously, why the fuck would you trust him? That's what I'm saying right there. It's we're saying Vince is good with me. I don't care if he works for the Nets. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. In some ways, I look at it maybe like a little more personally, a little bit more intimately. If your wife was sleeping with another man, would you be okay with that, Reggie? And maybe that sounds a little extreme, but that's how I look at it right there. That's how I look at it right there. That's right. That's right. Kaz saying, I know I'm not giving them a pass. This whole kumbaya shit is getting old. That's not what I'm doing today. I'm just telling you exactly what happened. And it's not kumbaya. Medved Ted saying, RJ is the best slasher on this team. He consistently gives us 20 points every night. He's important and lightens the offensive load of our other players, especially BI and Scotty, who look exhausted. This is just truth. And this is just absolute spitting facts. Good job. I agree with you completely. Jimmy's saying, Darko has said the same thing the last two games. We played good defense and didn't make shots. Getting tired of it, to be honest. We did not play good enough, period. The Celtics dogged us back-to-back. Excuses. Yeah, they're excuses. But in some ways, he's proud of them because he gave them an assignment to stop their 3-point shooting, and they succeeded. They just didn't stop the inside of Garza and Keita. And that's the difference. In some ways, he set up the game to say we're going to take the 3-point shot away from the Celtics, and nobody's been able to do that all year. And the Raptors did on Saturday night. So in some ways, that's a victory for the assignment that he gave them as the coach before the game. And that's all he was saying on that. It's not he's saying he's happy they lost. He's not. He's saying that quote is getting misquoted around Raptors Nation right now, and people are thinking he's just kumbaya and he's just like, oh, only positive. No, he was giving credit to his team for succeeding in the one assignment that he gave them on that aspect, even though they failed other assignments and still lost the game. I mean, you got to parcel this out and put it in its right place. That's all he was saying there. He's like, I'm proud of the team because they stopped them from making threes, and no other team this year has been able to do that to the Celtics. And that was his point right there. Reggie saying, well, if this was a scheduled loss, the Raptors should have taken care of business against Boston. The same stuff they did against the Celtics, they did against the Nets. Yeah, I'm going to agree with this. I mean, I wanted them to beat Boston. I felt like if we beat Boston, we'd carry over that good energy into beating the Nets against a trap game. But I called it. You guys can watch my stream from yesterday. This is a trap game, and be careful. We may lose to the Nets tonight. I said that shit yesterday in the ref report when I was doing it. When I saw Scott Foster's name, I said, oh, fuck. Yeah, they're really going to try and make us lose. As soon as I saw Scott Foster on the referee report yesterday morning, I was like, yeah, they're not going to try and let us win tonight, guys. And I said that shit in the stream yesterday. Ref report's undefeated. And if you guys don't want to listen to me when I do the ref report, understand that, like, this is not the Nets we're against. We're against Scott Foster, and we're against the schedule makers too. And that was part of what happened last night. You guys can say I'm making excuses, but this is the damn truth, man. This is the damn truth. Every single time the NBA is on a long grind. Yeah. It's a tough schedule. It's a tough team. It's a tough thing to be successful in the NBA. The NBA is hard. The NBA is hard. That's right. Blackhawks saying, forget about schedule loss. Understand that back-to-backs are bad for recovery. Exactly. Neil's going to toot this note on his trumpet again. It's like back-to-backs are hard on the body. Exactly. Along with mechanical failure. That's right. Regardless of who wins or loses. That's right. RJ's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. We need each other. Be there for each other. Don't go it alone when help is available. I appreciate that words of wisdom. I feel bad that I missed Trevor's earlier, but the stream malfunctions and we didn't get Trevor J's words of wisdom that he so carefully put in there. I appreciate you, Trevor, for doing that. And Randolph, thank you for yours. That's right. Be there for each other. Let's be there for the team right now. Like, seriously, they had such a bad day yesterday. In some ways, I feel for them. I feel sympathy, not anger. And in some ways, that's why I'm saying I'm getting in the way between y'all and them. Because in some ways, look, these guys are already beaten down mentally and physically from this weekend, and have their fans turn on them. That's Kyle Lowry shit in the first game of Orlando, kind of Raptors fans acting out of pocket kind of energy. That's what I say to this. We went way too off on Kyle Lowry after one game in the playoffs. Raptors fans went crazy. And in some ways, some of the energy right now is that kind of stuff, and it looks bad later on. Let's just put it that way. It looks bad later on, guys. You guys are overreacting. G's saying this, if they took care of business against the Celtics, I think it would be more acceptable to Raptors Nation. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why I was kind of pissed they didn't win that game, because I do really feel like they could have taken some of that into the game last night and may have been successful in a game that they did not want us to win either of those games. They really didn't, guys. They don't want the Raptors to win against the Atlantic Division. Just understand this. It's totally true. Koloko, Shamshay, Porter, Criminal, all gone. Basketball, God's blessed us with a good one. Yeah, once again, I was in an argument with a guy in the 905 game yesterday about Shamshay and the fishiness of Shamshay and Koloko getting plucked off our team by the fitness to play panel. Like, it's the most fucked up shit. And the guy was trying to say, oh, players get on that all the time. That's actually kind of bullshit. How often do players get on the fitness to play panel? I'd say there's only maybe 2 or 3 guys a year that get on that shit. And now it being so specifically the same after 1 year of a Cameroonian center rookie on the Raptors, the same fucking scenario goes through Koloko to Shamshay. That's fishy as fuck. And you go ahead and be naive and not think that that's weird, especially when they don't tell us jack shit about why Shamshay's out or anything and all this kind of stuff. And the guy who's arguing with me is gleefully saying, yeah, Shamshay's a free agent now. I don't know if that's true. In some ways, we have a roster spot that's still open that Bobby Webster may be still holding him on a silence that he just can't play yet. And then he gets cleared, then all of a sudden he resumes that. I don't think we actually officially waived him, or maybe we did. Either way, I once again would say, much like Wemby had blood clots and was on the fitness to play panel, the Spurs were able to keep him. Why the fuck can't we keep our players when they go on this? And maybe the rules need to be changed with the fitness to play panel, that teams that have the rights to the player, when they go on the fitness to play panel, have first rights to refuse on whether they can fit them back into their team. Because to me, this seems like a convoluted ass way the NBA can govern the Raptors away from having center projects that could help them with the problems they're having right now. Half the shit that we're going through right now would be fixed with Ulrich Shamshay on our team right now. I'm telling you right now, everybody whining and crying that we don't have another big, well, they stole him from us at the beginning of the year with a fitness to play panel that's mysterious and doesn't tell us jack shit about their methodology or why they're doing anything. Just, whoa, this guy's going to sit out for a year and all of a sudden he's going to be on another team. We got to understand this. That's evidence right there that there's some sort of weird ass conspiracy against us. Forget about Jonte. That's his own criminal dumbass self that did that. That's an anomaly and a weird ass fucking thing that just happened. Bad luck. But the stuff with Shamshay and Koloko is fishy as fuck. And if you guys, seriously, because think about where Koloko would have been if we could have kept him and developing up here at this point in his career instead of being on Austin Spurs now in the G League. If we were absolutely able to continue with him and develop him and get him somewhere, who knows? Maybe he's the backup center right now that we need it so badly right now. So understand, there's a lot of things working against the Raptors in certain ways that we don't totally understand. And Bobby Webster knows better than all of us. And this thing with Shamshay and Koloko, well, that would have fixed our bigs and our problems right now, wouldn't it? Either one of those guys right now. And think about that right there. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. That's right. Kenne's here. Good to see Kenne. 905 is good. I started watching them during Raptors losing streak. There you go. That's an entertaining game. And let's see them get this tonight. That's right. G saying, yes, Martin is a winner. He just makes winning plays. Lawson is ice cold. Roddy is a beast. That team is well-rounded and tough. They're just got moxie. They got character. They're just like they're a badass team. They got good synergy. They got a good coach. They got good role players. They got good leaders. They play as a team, which is rare in the G League. That's a big part of their success because a lot of other teams don't want to play as a team because they're all trying to get in the NBA. But the Raptors 905 play like a team, even though Jarkel Joyner, David Roddy, they all have selfish needs and wants to be in the NBA, but they still come together and play as a team. That's the secret of their success right there, man. It's so much fun to watch them. Watch them tonight, 6:30, Salt Lake City, championship game final for the Winter Showcase Cup. That's right. Kenny's saying AJ should replace Grady and Oshai. I think he should replace Grady and Jacoby, but not Oshai. Oshai, in some ways, is doing fine. He's been playing very well. I like him in the starting lineup instead of RJ. I honestly really am considering whether we can afford to lose Oshai or not. Seriously. It's kind of like at that point with him right now. Mischief saying this. We know what this team looks like with all five starters, full strength, a Category 5 Hurricane Foreman. There you go. There you go. I'm going to give the base man a dunk for saying he knows what they look like when RJ's there. And we should be feeling all right. It's just we're going through it right now. This is the schedule. This is the ups and downs of the voyage. And it's not all smooth sailing. And in some ways, we got to go through the tempest of the times. And we need to go through it with our heads held high and just try and do better down the road. And we will. 39 on the dunk charts for Mischief. That's it right there. He had a positive statement right there. And I love what he just said. Stargate saying, after this G League tournament, do we see Big Body Roddy and AJ called up to the Raptors? You know, there was something I saw yesterday that fooled me. I thought that I saw that the Raptors had signed David Roddy to Exhibit 10, but it was news from the summer when they did it to flip him on the rights. I mean, I'd love to. I mean, there is a chance that David Roddy has played so well this weekend that some other team's going to come get him and put him on their team because he's played that well this weekend. He had a fantastic game on Friday night. He was the best player for the Raptors 905, and he got the chain. And that probably opened a lot of eyes. And all those executives sitting in that room were like, you know what? David Roddy has got NBA experience. He could actually help us. Now, would he fit with helping us? He's still a little short, but he has size and strength, and he does get after it. And he's a pretty good three-point shooter, and he does fight for rebounds. So maybe he could help us. That's up to Bobby. If he thinks that he can help us, maybe bring him on to the Raptors and see if he can. But we're going to be undersized because he's not a big guy, height wise. And if he's fighting in there for rebounds, he really has to do that with his roundness and his strength, and that's tough. That's tough right there. Yeah, AJ definitely should be called up, and he should be playing. He's a two-way. He can already be playing, and we need him up there because he can give us. If we're lacking scoring off the bench, AJ Lawson's our guy. We need that guy up there. Yeah. Neil's saying this OA for Nick R means you can bring up AJ and put Juju on a two-way. OA? What's OA? Oh, you mean Nick Richards? Is what you're saying, man. I don't understand what this is saying, man. Oh, you're saying Abaji. You trade Abaji for Nick Richards, get the center, and then you bring up AJ and Juju on a two-way. I mean, that's an interesting move. I mean, it maybe works. Maybe it is something he's thinking about. Who knows? Joshua Monroe's here in the chat this morning. Good to see you, man. This team needs to identify who their future players are, and if their current guys aren't in they need to look in other directions. That's part of what we're doing is we're kind of figuring out, and this is why with Grady and Jacoby and Oshai and Jameson and Jamal, we need to figure out who's going to be for the future. Sure, Shed's for the future. But those other guys I just named, there's no guarantee on any of them. And they really need to get going, or they're going to be finding themselves not in Raptors jerseys soon. And it could be as soon as the trade deadline. It could be as soon as in the next couple of weeks. It could be as soon as next summer. So everything is due time. Good to see you, Josh. Thanks for the subscription. Nameless saying, working outside today, repairing a broken water main, freezing my nuts off, thinking about the Raptor freaks. There you go, Nameless. Buongiorno. My Italiano friend, my paisano, Mr. Nameless, the Italian plumber, he's working out in the cold today. At least it looks like it's a little bit around freezing, maybe a little bit above freezing, and not a -10 day. And it's sunny outside. So at least it's that for you, my guy. That's right. Criscom is here too. The great Criscom's checking in. He's saying the Raps look like crap. Yeah, you look like crap too if you stayed up all night. Also, G saying this. I thought Raptors had depth, but they still have a talent void, which means the starters need to always be perfect to win. That's not sustainable. But we are also not done with this team makeup. So all we can do is be patient at this point, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're work in progress. And just like a rough draft for a novel, you may rip up a page and put another page, start over. You know, there's so much to an NBA team, and it's not just gonna be perfect like a 9-win streak like we had. It's like there's gonna be ups and downs, and there were a work in progress. And Bobby Webster will figure it out as head of basketball operations. He's gonna make moves. Trust me, we're gonna figure this out. This is that period of time where everybody starts doubting Masai and Bobby. We've seen it in cycles before. They're like, man, what is he doing? And then all of a sudden they do something. And then we're like, yeah, they're cooking. They're cooking. Let Bobby cook. It's just that he hasn't had the time to get in the kitchen yet to do the cooking. And hopefully you'll do it soon because then it'll hold off the Raptors Nation because they are really anxious, Bobby. And you probably do need to do something sooner than later because Raptors fans are kind of getting on the ledge and chicken littling and they're acting out of pocket. And in some ways, when you do these moves like you and Masai have in the past, it inspires confidence once again in the team and what you're doing. And we might need this right now. We might need this right now. Seriously, we might need this. Kareem saying, I'm blushing and feel honored when nameless nuts are freezing. He thinks of me. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but that's hilarious, man. Cool Cat is here. Good to see the coach. Good morning to you. Let's see. Good game saying Degenhart is one of those players that don't really stand out, but you always sense winning impact when he's on. I've often wondered if you called up Degenhart, like if you switched him for Grady for a week, what would happen? Could Tyson Degenhart of Boise State come up and do Grady Dick better than Grady Dick is doing Grady Dick right now? Seriously, because he has a lot of the same attributes and his level of what play and what he's doing on the 905, it's on a low level and it's off the bench. But if he could get a spot duty for the Raptors and do a couple things, could he do Grady's role better than Grady right now? Because it does seem like he's playing better than Grady right now. That's for sure. Cool Cat saying, congrats to the Raptors 905 making the finals. Yep, job's not done. Let's not rest on their laurels. After the game, they were interviewing Elijah Martin. They're saying, go celebrate with your teammates. And I'm like, no. And Elijah was the same way. He's like, no, we're not celebrating. We still got work to be done. And none of us are going at ease just because we just won a 2-point victory over the Grand Rapids Gold in the semifinal. No, we got to go to the final and win that still. So there's no letdown. Even if the announce crew is like, oh, go have fun, go enjoy the victory. No, fuck that. We're not done. We have a game today, and it's the finals. And Elijah had that energy. He's like, no, we're not done. Don't act like I need to let down my guard and be celebrating announcers who want us to do that because they probably want us to lose to Salt Lake City. No, we're not done. And the energy is still going forward like that. That's right. Raptors keep grinding and play with confidence. That's the path to success for a team outside the U.S. Cool Cat's got it exactly right. She's getting a dunk. She's getting a dunk. We just got to grind, guys, and hope that the W's fall on our side and less L's. And that's the big part of it, man. The NBA is not easy, and we're doing what we can. You got another dunk. Cool Cat, you're at 48. 48. That's right. 48 dunks for her this year. That's awesome. Let's see. Jimmy Pope saying you're allowed to criticize your team when they deserve it. Boston whooped up on us back-to-back stop using excuses, and look at why we actually lost the basketball game. I mean, I'm with you on that, but what is the energy of doing that? I mean, in some ways, I know I do it on this channel. I don't want to be a hypocrite. But what is the energy of criticizing the team? It's just like, is it help anything? I like to think maybe we do help because maybe they do have an ear to us and they do kind of listen a little bit. Like maybe somebody in MLC is like, we're watching Raptors Freak every day just to see what the fans are saying on a day-to-day basis, see who they're coming at, see who they're upset with. You know, they do stuff like they show Darko, and they did this with Andrew Jones yesterday. We want to question whether these guys are good coaches. Well, they'll show stuff like behind the scenes, Darko behind the scenes, talking to the team in the locker room and how he pep talks them. They'll show Darko in the game, talking to players as they come off the game and giving them advice. So you see a better picture of what he's doing. And Darko, you know what he did on Saturday, which was awesome. Before the game, I watched his interview with the press, and he basically went over parts of his scouting report for the Celtics, and it was so in depth. And he went on and on about this and knowing this about it. I was like, damn, he really does know his shit. And he really is putting the best stuff together as far as helping the team to be prepared. It may not have seemed like that with the outcome of the game, but he gets my vote of confidence as far as like he is coaching and he's doing a job. Now, they showed Andrew Jones before the game yesterday in his speech, and he's like, we're going to war and we cannot stop and we cannot let them get us. And we have to go all the way through and we have to play for each other and we have to do this. And he's like, the way he's saying it is just like, damn, that dude is badass. He makes you want to run through a wall. And he's kind of scary too, because he's 6'9" and so big. And he's got that demeanor. These insights to seeing our coaches behind the scenes with the team and how they do it, it'll make you inspire confidence that these guys are good at their job. Now, we could have seen Eric Curry doing it for 2 years before Andrew Jones and be like, guys, could you guys play a little harder, please? No, it ain't like that in that team at this point. And thank God, right, Monique? And now Andrew Jones is like, yeah, no nonsense, no excuses. We just have to go out there and do this. And that's why they're the way they are and they're undefeated. So the insight to seeing our coaches from behind the scenes does help us have confidence that they are good at their jobs. And you know what? I would say this, man. You're right. We can criticize the team. We can do this. We can do that. But what's the point? Aren't we just another part of the noise on social media and all these other places? In some ways, maybe there's a point for us to do it here if they are actually listening. But how much of it is actually constructive and how much of it is actually helpful and how much of it is actually detrimental to the team? That's what I have to ask on that. That's what I'm wondering right there. Stargate saying, I believe you, Lex. It's pretty obvious, to be honest. And at this point, those who can't see it just don't want to see it and wouldn't, even if I fell on their faces and started to wiggle. Man, it's tough, man. This world's changing quickly. It's going to change very fast in the next 2 years. And I see a whole lot of stuff just in the world in general right now that's scary as fuck. And in some ways, I don't necessarily want to go on and on about it on this channel like I have at times in a doomsday way. But we need to open our eyes up and stop lying to ourselves. And if you think that people out there are just wanting to be nice to us in general, I hope so. There's a guy named Rob Brezhnev. He's a philosopher, a modern day philosopher, and he talks about pronoia. Pronoia is a very interesting idea and concept. There's paranoia, right? Paranoia is, what it is. You're paranoid that people are out to get you. You're paranoid that somebody doesn't like you. You're paranoid about all kinds of things. It's a negative thing, right? Well, pronoia is the exact opposite of paranoia. And maybe in some ways, this is a words of wisdom from Lex. Try and practice pronoia in your life. And it's the opposite. Instead, you're thinking, like, man, my neighbor, they cut down the hedge and it looks awful. They must hate me. You know, say instead, you come in at a different mindset of instead the world's out to get me, the world is out to bless me and benefit me and do good things for me. That's the whole premise of Pronoia by Rob Brezhny. And basically, it's like, well, the neighbor cut the hedge. Well, I appreciate the neighbor for cutting the hedge for us so that I don't have to do it. You know, it's very much perspective. And if you want to think the world is out to get you, well, maybe that energy will come to you. But if you want to believe that the world is out there to bless you and be your friend and work with you, that's pronoia. And it's a mindset you can flip. I've been practicing it. It's something I'm not totally known for a long time. This is a new thing that I've been practicing. It's very interesting in the days, in the times now. It's like we can paint, like you guys in the words of wisdom has said, if you look for bad things to happen, like Trevor J says, they probably will. If you look for good things to happen, they will happen. So, in some ways, with the uncertainty of the times coming up, I would encourage people to have positive thinking and practice pronoia. And who knows, maybe we will get a better world for ourselves because we've created it in our own minds and it became reality. So yeah, it's really heavy stuff and it's very deep. And this stuff can all be looked at on the Raptors level too. If you really want to add the paranoia. And in some ways, I'm paranoid because I think the league's out to get us. So maybe I should flip it and be more pronoia and say, you know what? No, the league wants to help us. Adam Silver loves being in an international league, and he loves the Raptors. So why wouldn't Adam Silver, who's friends with Larry Tannenbaum, be okay and looking out for the Raptors? That may be true on some levels. That Adam Silver is maybe looking out for us on some levels, but there may be entities in the NBA also that are not and absolutely after us. You know, I don't know. Raptors Champs is in the house. I love the name. Good morning, freaks and champs. We will be champs today, hopefully. Wait till RJ comes back. The ball will move and back to fast break points. I love it, and I appreciate that, and that's what I want to. I like IQ. I really want him to win. Yeah, I'm with you on that too, man. Good to see you, Raptors Champs. Thanks for the subscription. Kenny's saying IQ is too streaky to be a starting point guard. We can't depend on him. This is actually a valid point in some ways. I don't know if like he'll ever get consistent to the level where he can be dependent on night in, night out. He definitely is a streak shooter. And you know, this is maybe part of the reason why the Knicks, you know, they're going to choose Brunson probably anyway, either which way. But in part of the factoring in, maybe it's like, well, Brunson's going to just be more steady and dependable for sure if we have to choose between Quickly and Brunson. So we'll just have to see. Hopefully, IQ can get more consistent over his career, and we can just see a better range that absolutely fits the money he makes. That's what I'm saying. G saying this: I've always thought the league will give the Raptors a disadvantage whenever possible, and I also believe front office has some work to do. Not mad at anyone, to be honest. We went from bottom to top five. Weaknesses are exposed, and that's good. And the front office knows what it needs to do now. Yeah, I think this is a mature way to look at it all. You know, in some ways, like I said, it's not like we can complain about it and we can say it's true, but in some ways, it's just the reality and we got to go through it. It's not going to change. So, but we need to be aware of it and maybe talk about it. But in some ways, it's like we just make it all the more sweeter when we are successful. We are successful. That's right. That's right. Trevor's here. Y'all don't get mad when other fans and YouTube people and different sports analysts talk bad about the team when you all kick them down when they need your support instead of bitching. Man, Trevor J, I'm glad you came back in, man. I wasn't sure if you're going to return. I'm sorry I lost your comments at the beginning. All right, you're getting a big dunk right here. I love what he's saying right here. I love what he's saying right here. In some ways, Trevor's like, he's taking no prisoners. In some ways, he's on it. 177 for the Commissioner of Fun. Man, he was just being real right there. Dunk for Trevor for sure. He got it. He got it. Bryce saying, I expected IQ to be better than what he is. I expect him to be this shining knight with armor to save us in certain situations. He's 7 for 34 from 3 in the last 5. I expect him to be a consistent shooter. This is fair. And I agree. I agree. We want him to be more consistent. And he has this ability, Bryce. And I hope that we can see it more when it really matters more near the end of the season and possibly in the playoffs. Seriously, I want to see IQ do some things this season that absolutely make everyone who doubted him to be quiet and that we see him hit clutch shots late in games, later in the season, and he becomes a Raptors legend for it. We get the playoffs, and IQ goes crazy in a fourth quarter, and we absolutely win a playoff series, partly because of him. That's what I want. That's what I want right there. Yeah. Most saying, I know the guys will be better. Yeah. Once they get pillow time, once they get a real good sleep, I bet they didn't get on no plane to go straight to Miami last night. No, they slept in Brooklyn, and they're getting up today. They probably got to sleep in good today. These guys probably just getting up now. Seriously, after such a long, crazy odyssey this weekend, they probably got extra sleep, and they kind of now going to travel to Miami, and they'll be today, and then they'll be in Miami tomorrow night against the Heat. I'll have the preview tomorrow morning. That's right. Bryce is saying when we are down players, you can't depend on IQ, and that bugs me knowing he's the third highest paid. Maybe I'm being too critical. Please let me know. I mean, honestly, you guys have a fair argument, and I don't want to be like a jerk and say no, you all are wrong. IQ does need to earn his money better. You're exactly right. But I don't want to tarnish him or put him down to the point where he feels like the fans hate him. And that makes it even worse. In some ways, I want to show support and say, we believe in you, IQ. I think you can do this. And I think that you're going to come and turn the corner again soon. That's the right thing. I think it's right what you're saying, Bryce. It's just it hurts to say it. And in some ways, I want more for him too. I'm exactly with you. But in some ways, we got to be supportive in this. And because his success is our success. That's the one thing all Raptors fans need to understand. The coach, the GM, the players, their success is our success shared with them as the fans. And anybody who's like against players or wishing they were on our team and you're actually wishing they play worse so they get off the team, that's not for the team, right? Does that make sense? That makes sense. Wayne Strainer's here. Morning, Raptor Freaks. These games are truth telling, not advocating any trade or sale, just stating the obvious. IQ is not a point guard. He does not control the tempo or the flow of the games. Front office decision. Oh, man, he's not a prototypical point guard. He can play point guard at times, but you're right. He's not controlling the flow, and he's not doing the typical point guard stuff. Although some of his stats show he is with the assisted turnovers and the amount of assists he gets. I don't know. It's tough, but I know what you're saying, Wayne, and I agree. Like, he doesn't control the flow of the game like Shed does. He doesn't control the flow of the game like Fred used to, or Kyle. And in some ways, that's troubling. In some ways, part of it is because his change of speed and when he's effective hitting shots is how he controls the flow of the game. In some ways, his flow of the game is chaotic. He's a chaotic player. In some ways, that leads to him being streaky too. And that's part of the problem with like his consistency to be able to control the flow of the game as a regular starting point guard is tough because he's a chaotic player. He's a very chaotic player. He's one of the most chaotic players in the NBA. But in some ways, his chaos is a strength just as much as it's a detriment or a frustrating thing to us. It's weird. It's weird, man. It's so weird. Wayne, so happy to have you in the chat again today. Superfan Mo saying, I love IQ's post game interview. Yeah, he was so tired, wasn't he, Mo? He was so tired. You could tell his voice. And like I said, he didn't want to take any excuses for last night. He was like, I'm not going to say it was because we're tired, even though he almost did. He started to say it. He did blame we had no energy. He did say we had no energy. He did say that. G's saying when 905 are down 20, I don't worry because they have a bench that could be starters on other teams. Our main squad is a good core. Pieces need to be added, tweaked, and developed. It will happen. If we look at it from the wave of 905 goes into the Raptors, the success of the Raptors 905 is foretelling something good for the Raptors, right? 2017 becomes 2019. The Raptors 905 and 2025, 2026 are badasses and they do major things. Well, is the delay to it in 2 years? Are we going to see this core of guys, Elijah Martin, Chucky Hepburn, Jonathan Mobo, do amazing things for us like Pascal, Fred, and Norman did too? Maybe. I don't know. There's no guarantees on that. But hopefully it's a good direction. I've been saying that, a good sign of the Raptors' success in the future is the 905 team doing well. And they have languished and been a bad team for a few years. They're definitely a good team this year. So hopefully that is going to be the future that's coming up for the Raptors and a wave coming from there, right? That's what we want, right? That's what we want. I personally am glad these injuries have exposed our weaknesses, makes it much easier to figure out what needs to be done. I agree with G. Super fan saying travel day back to back. Very telling. Very telling. Bye, Vince Carter. See, she's with me on Vince. She's with me on Vince. The super fan Monique Lawrence is the heart of the Raptors fan nation. And in some ways, the way her heart beats is the way that fan nation is. And in some ways, look, she's with me on Vince. Her and I have been pretty solid in switching back and forth with Vince Carter. And in some ways, it's like, she's a real one through and through. We cannot debate whether Monique Lawrence has the most deepest, best wishes for the Toronto Raptors, and she understands the culture and what it means to be a Raptor fan and what it means to be truly passionately 100% behind them. I always use her as a guiding light when it comes to Raptors fan stuff. In some ways, she's a leader to me on how to be a better Raptors fan. And that's what I'm saying. When her and I stand on this side and we think this about Vince, that's very telling, guys, because she was there just like I was in 2004, and she felt all those feelings that we went through then. And in some ways, the makeup and from the breakup is not equalizing a lot of the anger and the feelings from it still. Some people say, no, this is great. I'm glad we did this. In some ways, I can't change that we retired his jersey already. I feel like it was a mistake still. I feel like Kyle Lowry should have been the first Toronto Raptor to ever get his jersey retired, and you could have done Vince after that. But unfortunately, the Nets pushed that on us because they went and they wanted to do it first, and everybody shamed us to do it because the Nets were going to do it. I mean, that's another reason to say fuck Brooklyn today. I say fuck Brooklyn, fuck Scott Foster, and fuck mechanical problems, and fuck Vince Carter. That's what I'll say too. That's what I'll say too, right there. Fiercey saying, let's see how we look once RJ comes back. That's right, Fiercey. Raptors champs saying, so what if GMs are compromised? It will take the voice of the people. I don't think that Bobby's compromised. I don't think this Bobby's compromised. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. Let's see. Blackhawk saying, bottom line, Raptors are playing with one hand tied behind their back, and it's not enjoyable. The team needs balance. Well, in some ways, it's not for the thin-skinned. You got to ride or die with your team. And, being a Raptors fan has been a real ride the whole 31 years. Trust me. I was there from the start. And I'll tell you right now, times are good compared to what it was in 1997, compared to what it was in 2008, compared to what it was a couple years ago in Tampa. Come on now. Let's have perspective. Times are good right now. It's not enjoyable. In some ways, it's not easy. Some of these games, but we're in a way better place right now than we were before. Kaloy's here. Good to see Kaloy. Bobby paid the tax and get us a 7-footer. Laugh out loud. But honestly, once I accepted that this team has got a great potential to be really good, but incomplete without a big man, I find the losses acceptable. There you go. There you go. It's not that I want to accept them. It's not that I want them. It's just that we need to have a perspective, a maturity in dealing with them. That's what I say right there. Stargate saying there are things the Raptors must do in order to overcome the exclusive issues that only the Raptors have to deal with, that no other NBA team does, and there is a myriad of them. Yeah. As Masai said many years ago, there are very much minuses that we have to deal with, but we also have pluses. And he was always about the philosophy of playing up the positives, which are like we have a huge market and a whole country behind us. In some ways, that's going to really pay off for us in the long run. This is part of the reason why the NBA didn't want Masai on our team anymore is because we got a pipeline to Africa too. We got a pipeline to the whole country of Canada. AJ Lawson, RJ Barrett, they're just symbols of like more coming. Delano Banton. These guys are coming. And, every single Canadian player that plays in the league, on a lot of them on the deep down want to play for the Raptors. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. So we do have some pluses, and Masai Ujiri's philosophy was always to play into those, but there are negatives that we have to deal with. And he was very open about that too. He's saying there are things that we have to deal with that nobody else has to deal with. So in our unique position, that's right. So the organization has to operate differently from the other NBA teams, and fans have to be cognizant of and be considerate to those truths when putting your support behind the team. That's why, like a lot of casual takes from Raptors Nation, they say we should do this and do that. Well, that's something the Warriors could do, but we can't necessarily do. And that's the thing that some people have to understand. If you're looking to other teams to figure out what we should do, you can't do that. We're a special, unique case. And what may work for other teams in the league will not work for us because of our special, unique case. And that's something we got to remind people sometimes. Yeah, you cannot have that Knicks fan type toxicity around this team. This is not a New York sports environment. It's different. Can't act like Knicks fans, like Raptors fans are doing right now. A lot of folks in here are starting to act like New York fans. Well, they're Leaf fans too. And that's part of it. It's not necessarily New York. It's Toronto fans have been toxic on their own already. And the similar attributes to New York fans, sure. But let's not get it twisted. The Leafs fan nation has been absolutely toxic for decades. And it's been a problem for a while because they're jaded and they're fucked up because of failure since the 60s. And in some ways, that's very similar to the failure of the Knicks since the 70s. So that's I always make that comparison. The Knicks are the Leafs of the NBA, and the Leafs are the Knicks of the NHL. They're the same franchises in their respective leagues as far as what they deal with and how much bullshit and toxicity in the press and the fans for both those teams. It's the same shit. You could probably go into the Cowboys as being the football team that's like that. The Dallas Cowboys are probably a very similar thing. It's because these teams are very loved and very tough, top of the popularity in the leagues. And, in some ways that makes it all the more pressured and tougher in certain ways. That's it right there. 100% Stargate. There you go. Chloe's saying, let's hold strong, Raptors fans. Bobby is navigating the new CBA. Right now, we are in the tax, and we have to be careful with our signings. Let him do his magic. The hard part is done. We have a good starting five, and we proved it can work. Now we are showing our weaknesses, not even mid-season. These can be easily fixed, and we are still 4 games above 500. We have a young team that can potentially be really good, but really incomplete. No matter how we mix the lineups, we are not beating 7-footers in rebounds. This will get addressed. I hope so. I really do. I like everything you're saying there, Kaloy. That's right. Mo's saying W stream, W vibes. Thank you for the cutoff, Mo. I really need it. I'm at 3.5 hours. But in some ways, this is necessary because yesterday was a very crazy day with success and failure for the Raptors franchise. And in some ways, we got to cover it correctly. Thank you for cutting it off and just helping me limit the comments. Kaloy saying, Lex, with PhD and healthy fandom, so we can enjoy our sports team in a healthy way. I'm just saying, you guys can be how you want to be. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's no wrong. I mean, there are wrong reactions, sure. But if I can be a role model and just show you there's another way and maybe let you guys a little off the hook with your emotions and feeling the things you guys are doing, I want to do that because I want to help you guys be happier in your lives. Not just as Raptors fans, but just in your lives in general. Pronoia, practice it today. How about that? HC saying they were for sure tired. My comment about Yaka was that they should just rest him as long as possible because his coming in and out just messes up the chemistry. And we need to see, obviously, let's see. Well, I don't know if he's hurting the chemistry when he comes on the court because he's in and out. In some ways, he's just a bonus if he comes in. He obviously gives a bonus to IQ and some of the other players when he's out there. And I know it seems real jerky. And I know in some ways the logic in y'all's minds, just rest him and give him some time, like Blackhawk said. But we once again don't know the proprietary knowledge and the day-to-day stuff with Yak. And he may very well be like, I feel like $1 million this morning, Darko. Let's go ahead and go. And he's like, okay. And we put him out there, and then something happens. It could very well be that Yak got out there, and it's a very physical game these days. All these games have been so tough with physicality that somebody hits Yak in the back, like Claxton or Clowney, and all of a sudden it's season up because of that. It could very well be he was 100% okay, and in the battles of the game, all of a sudden he got hit or he got knocked down, and then it's like, oh crap, now my back's all messed up. You know what I'm saying? This kind of stuff. It could be like that, yeah. Let's see. Raptors champ saying maybe they're gaming but partying. Nah, it would be online proof. Yeah, no, I don't think these guys are doing that. The NBA's really changed a lot. All these players are really wanting to maximize making money and being in the league, and they want longevity. And knuckleheads that could get away with coasting and doing whatever they want, that's very rare. These guys are going to get bounced out of the league because there's so many good players in basketball now. You can't just be talented. You have to be a good citizen. You have to be. John Morant's a great example. You got to be serious about your craft, and you got to show initiative that you're putting in the extra effort. You know, the Raptors getting together for most of the summer and working together is not common, and it very much shows that they all are individually committed to the team and trying to help the team get better. So if you extrapolate that kind of mentality about the summer and spending their summer together when they can do whatever the fuck they want, it kind of doesn't make sense that they'd be wasting their life being boozers and getting all fucked up every night and degrading their bodies in that kind of way. That doesn't make any sense at all. I know Scotty for a fact doesn't drink. He told us that on his stream that he doesn't drink. He's had somebody in his life that was an alcoholic and that had a strong imprint on him as a young child, and it just turned him off from the whole thing. And so, you know, maybe some of the guys are drinking from time to time. I mean, we heard Siakam talking about drinking on his social media recently, and Fred's talked about partying a little bit on his Unguarded podcast. But, you know, I don't think these guys are really like that because they want a competitive edge as much as they can. And those are the sacrifices you make as an athlete to be the absolute best that you can. You could always second guess yourself. Well, if I go out and party and get drunk tonight, another guy in the league isn't doing that. And maybe they're getting ahead of me because they're not. That's kind of part of the mind fuck for players. It's like, do I do this or I don't do this? Well, this is helpful to my career and what I'm trying to do with my body and being an athlete. I want this guilty pleasure though. I love cheesecake. You know, it's like they're thinking about this with every single decision they fucking do in their lives. And I think that characterizing them as party guys that are out every night is absolutely off the mark. Absolutely off the mark. Absolutely off the mark. That's right. Yeah. Vince was a traitor, and I'm with Lex on this. There you go. He still is. His energy was weird too when he was calling the game. He looked unhappy. He looked a little weird. Maybe he looked a little nervous. Either way, you got your honor. You got your honor. In some ways, there is a place where I can celebrate you and appreciate you, Vince. But that as you know what you did for us. But also at the same time, I have to have the other side of the coin. And I have to be allowed to have that also by other Raptors fans. And don't judge me if I'm not totally 100% with Vince Carter. Seriously, don't judge me for that. It's our right as fans, as Monique and HC and I. That's right. Kaloy saying Grady and Jacoby need to be in the G League the rest of the season if we don't trade them. Honestly, I think that could help them. Honestly, it could scare the shit out of them. And maybe it could actually install good confidence too. They go down there and they dominate the G League like Chris Boucher or Pascal Siakam, then maybe they get their ass back in gear. Maybe we do need to do this. Maybe we do need to do a flip real quick. Grady, Jacoby, you're going to G League, and Chucky and AJ and Elijah, you're coming up. You're coming up. Maybe Battle, you're going with them too. You three guys go for those three guys are coming up. And Jonathan, you come back too. You've done enough time on 905. We need you back up on the big squad because we need bigs. That's another guy we're not talking about that could actually help us is Mobo. Mobo's been doing a great job as the big for us. Sar is not that. And in some ways, Mobo defaults to being our center because Sar is so shitty, he has to go sit. And Mobo, I know it's different. The G League's a different size, but he's playing against bigger guys right now, and he's doing okay. And we know Jonathan has done stuff on the NBA level in the last year and been successful. So this could actually really help. Maybe there's a pivot after this game tonight and they go into the G League regular season where Mobo's not as available to Andrew Jones and Bobby Webster's bringing him back up to us to use on the big club because we might need to do that. Seriously, we might really need to do that. Seriously. Fiercely saying, IQ, go back to your 6th man of the year era. I mean, I would be crazy like that just to light a fire under people. Like we just said, send Grady and Jacoby to G League. Take IQ out of the starting lineup and elevate Shed for a couple games and let IQ get a scare and say, yeah, you're off the bench now. You better shape up. Some ways this kind of stuff can work. This kind of stuff can't work. Fred Roms is here, man. Fred Roms is saying, hey, man, I could never be a part of Leaf Nation as a POC millennial 90s kid. Kaloy, you can't send Jakob to the G League in 2025. Are you new to this? No, he's talking about Jacoby. I know that their names are similar. There's just an E on the end of it. He's talking about Walter. Yeah, but that's a great comment. And welcome to the channel. Thank you for your subscription, Fred. And man, I get with you on this, man. You know, the Leafs have tried to make it more open to people of all walks of life. But you can see the demographics when you see a Raptors game or a Leaf game on TV, and you can see the primary audience for a Leaf game, and you can see the primary audience for a Raptors game. You know what? One of the cool things about Saturday night, even though we lost, was the dancing baby came back. Yeah, did you guys see that? And this was hilarious. I forgot to talk about this yesterday. I should have. They did one of those things where they do red carpet welcome, and it's usually like an athlete or a movie star that's at the game at courtside. And I was like, what are they doing? It's like red carpet welcome. And then it's like Herbie's like, guys, everybody, welcome the dancing baby. And that dancing baby's gone viral. He's a badass. Like that dude's got moves. That kid is so awesome. And the mom's so proud. Like he became a phenomenon. In some ways, it's like we've had bad times in Raptors Nation recently, but man, is that kid cute. Man, is that kid cute. Giving high fives. Like he goes over, he's just like a little nice little high five. So he came back to the game on Saturday night, and Herbie introduced him as a red carpet welcome. Like he was Donnie Wahlberg at the Boston game before. It's like Donnie Wahlberg. It's New Kids on the Block, and they're singing Back Streets Back. All right, or whatever. I know it got the bands mixed up. That's how much I care about kids, boy bands and their bullshit. But I love that little kid got that put on blast. And that's a memory, man. That kid is a Raptors fan for life. Oh my gosh, he's an icon. He's gonna be like 20 years old and be like, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, how you doing? And it's like, and then his friends find out you were the dancing kid at the Raptors game, the little kid. Oh my gosh, you're famous, bro. I love you, man. Oh, seriously, guys, it's nothing, man. I was just a little kid then. My mom used to bring me to the games. It's not a big deal, man. It's like, no, seriously, bro. You're like a Raptors legend, man. You're so awesome. I hope that guy has that life. And somebody sees like the kid on the Nirvana cover. You're the kid in the pool with your dick hanging out? Yeah, I was that kid on the Nirvana album cover. Yeah. No, that kid deserves all the great blessings coming to him because he brought so much joy to people's lives, being a viral sensation in the last couple weeks. And he went beyond us. Seriously, the NBA put him on blast on their main accounts and said, look at this little Raptors fan up there, this dancing kid. It was so awesome, man. So awesome. Fred, respect, man. And seriously, man, everybody's always welcome with the Raptors on the Raptor Freak channel also. That's right. Unless you're a hater. Then you find the door. That's right. Yak is injured and we rested him. That's right. Trevor's saying winning and losing is a part of life. You have to take the good with the bad. You don't walk first. You have to crawl first. Just like a baby. You got to fall on your butt. We got the words of wisdom at the end of the stream today, and I love it, Trevor. Blessings to the Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. Blessings to the Phillips family also. That's right. I love that. You're going to the game tomorrow. Of course, Trevor J is going to be repping us in the South Beach, down south. Him in Fort Lauderdale. He's going to make the trek to the Miami Heat game for the Raptors and put the support of the RFF in person, in flesh and blood, in the arena. And you did a good job last time, Trevor. Let's do it again. Why not? We need this one. We need to beat Miami once again. And Norman, I'm sorry. We got to beat you guys. And Trevor, you're going to bring that win for us. That's right. Kaloy saying this. Trevor living his life, being a Raptors fan in sunny Miami. Yeah, it is a blessed life. And he knows that. And that's part of the reason why the blessings keep coming to him. Because he doesn't take it lightly. He doesn't take it for granted. He has a passion and a love of Christ and the Creator above that allows more blessings and bounty to come to him in his life. And that's the way you do it, Raptors fans. Just like Trevor J. That's right. Coach Jones needs to work his magic with Grady and Jacoby. Yeah, I wouldn't mind this. Seriously, if it keeps going like this actually may be helping y'all's career. Seriously. This may be actually helping y'all's career. Seriously. Kaloy saying, Dancy Baby is awesome. I'm already training little Santino to battle that baby. Oh my gosh. This is just becoming too cute. I can't wait for this. I want to see Kaloy show up at the game with Santino and get on the Jumbotron. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Santino's only like a year old now, right? So, oh my gosh. He's like a year and a half, right? Okay, yeah. So Santino's going to be hitting that mark in the next year or two, right? Okay, we're going to see this, man. I want to see this, Kaloy. We should have this. Raptors in-game ops. Why don't you have little baby dance battles at half court? At halftime or in-game ops or something like that. You guys, I know you guys have the little rap crew, the little dancers, the little rap dancers. They're good. They do little flips and stuff. Well, let's go even more to age bracket because that kid, that dancing baby is so awesome. And there may be more of these really cute Raptors babies that we need to put on the court. Oh my gosh. Kaloy, You know what? You just made a rainbow of sunshine in my day with the idea of this. This is so awesome. No, don't shut up now. This is awesome, man. I love this, man. I love this, man. Yeah, Monique saying I always see young Raptors fans now. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're an exciting brand, and people identify with the underdog. People identify with the maligned. People identify with the people that have to go the harder way to get to what they want in life, and don't have an easy silver spoon in their mouth. And the Raptors are that franchise in this league. That's right. Trevor's saying my food truck's gonna be at the game. You gonna park outside the arena and sell some food out there? All right, Trevor J. Entrepreneurship. That's right. Kaloy saying, I want to remind you, Lex, you are doing a great service to your fellow man by doing your stream every day and sharing positivity in your own way. I love that. I found this channel. That means a lot, man. That means a lot. And that's the kind of stuff that keeps me going, man. Man, I don't want to get all teary and shit because this is a grind and it is hard. And I told myself, if my gift is the gift of gab and my knowledge of the Raptors, I better use my gift. And I just appreciate YouTube for giving me the forum to do this. I really do, man. Cheers to you, man. Thank you. I shouldn't do this. No cheers to you. All the best. And man, I'm just gonna have a water break real quick. Oh man, yeah, I got it. All right, let me get through the rest of my tabs real quick. Instagram stories. We got Jared Roden making a really badass play and a dunk, and then doing the too small to somebody over in France. He did the too small. Let's see what else we got. I might not do very much of these and get out of here soon. Jacoby's putting on blast one of his somebody on Baylor, somebody back from where he's at. There's Mamu coming in the game. It seemed like a lot of the Raptors were wearing leather coming into the game last night. This guy wearing a leather jacket. RJ wearing leather. So was Mamu. Let's see who else we got. We got they're celebrating World Basketball Day yesterday, and there's Mamu and his lady eating some chickens in a bag. I don't know what's going on there. Happy Christmas from Leo Routens and the TSN crew. That's really cool to see. Kate and Kia. You know, they're funny, man. When they do the betting props stuff at halftime, Leo hates that shit. And he sabotages Wesley's picks all the times. Like, he does not respect them. He does not like the gambling around it. And he's openly defiant and making fun of it in the middle of the broadcast. So kudos to you, Leo Routens, for fighting the power on the inside. You're just too good. And you and Kia have such great chemistry at this point. Y'all have really built that up. And Kia Nurse, the telestrator with a little iPad thing, man, that has been such gold since y'all have gotten that. You guys are really educating the public on basketball stuff in a major way. And she broke it down where the Raptors messed up against Celtics so eloquently before the game yesterday. Fantastic job, TSN crew. You guys are night and day in some ways with the studio show for the Sportsnet. And I don't disrespect the Sherman and Matt, but these are the ones right here. And I love Alvin Williams too. But man, Danielle Michaud is not an upgrade on Savannah Hamilton. And Kayla Gray is looking good these days. Looking good. That's right. Chucky Hepburn celebrating him and J-Mo and their great excellence yesterday. AJ Lawson celebrating all kinds of different stuff right now. Maybe I should just finish up and get out of here. I feel like I'm at the end of the stream. A lot of this stuff is just like the 905 celebrating from winning yesterday on there. Raptors Reddit, dare I look at it? Nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Like I said, you know, it was a tired game for the Raptors when the announce crew, Matt Devlin and Jack Armstrong, were so tired themselves that they were delirious in the fourth quarter, talking out of their ass, doing the call. That is an indicator, guys. If you don't think the Raptors were tired, their announce crew was dog tired. And Matt Devlin was making mistakes with his call in all kinds of different which ways because he was overtired himself. And Jack Armstrong was squirrely and weird too. So that's a litmus test right there that the Raptors, if their announce crew is dog tired and they're just announcing, just imagine how tired the Raptors are on the court. Just imagine, because they all came in on the same plane and they all dealt with the same shit that night. And Matt Devlin was a little bit on fumes last night. If you didn't catch that, you should have. You should have seen that. All right, let's do the classic card. Let's get that done, and then we'll get out of here. I'm sorry. Thanks for Alexathon today. And I appreciate the kind words from Kaloy. I really, really do. All right, let me see. Where am I at here? All right, let's see. We'll get a quick one here. Let's see if I get a quick one. Oh, this is a little tough, but I think you guys can figure it out. It's a Raptors card, which is interesting. All right, here we go. Full name answer for the classic car of the day. Let's see who knows who this classic Raptor is. And he's in a Warriors jersey here, and there's Dick Jefferson behind him in a Bucks jersey. So if you know who this is a classic Raptor. You get it. Marco Bellinelli. Very, very good. Very, very good. Yep, that's right. Italian Marco Bellinelli. Good job. King of the classic cards, Slug Deezy, is on top of it. Gallinari was in the broadcast calling the game for the 905 yesterday, and I brought up something in the chat that might have pissed him off. I was talking about whether Gallinari was better than Bargnani. And, they're comparable in some ways. I was saying that Bargnani is better than Gallinari, and he may have insulted him. I mean, two great Italian legends. Who's better, Gallinari or Bargnani? I don't know. I'm partial to Bargnani. I know that he gets dissed because he's a number one pick, and he should have been better. But if you really look at the career of Andrea Bargnani, it's very solid. He was a double-double machine. He was a decent shot blocker, and he was a money three time traveler who lived in the wrong era a little bit too early. He should have been in this league now at this point. So I don't know. What would you guys say? Who's a better player, Gallinari or Bargnani? I don't know. I put that question to the thing yesterday. All right, y'all, today we're playing in the finals of the G League Winter Showcase Cup, and our referees are Brent Haskell, Nate Searley, and Marcy Williams. We lost to the Brooklyn Nets last night, and it was a tough game. But my stars of the game for last night: Emmanuel Quickley, Colin Murray Boyles, and Jacoby Walter. My stars for the Raptors 905 in their semifinal victory: Jonathan Mobo, Elijah Martin, Chucky Hepburn, Julian Reese, Tyson Degenhart, Tyreek Key, and David Roddy. That's right. I went 7 stars deep because they did it like that. All right, 6:30 tonight, Salt Lake City Stars finals of the Winter Showcase Cup, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, YouTube in Canada. We'll have the links in our Facebook group and our Discord server. And be there or be square. I'll be there myself, rooting on this team today. So let's go 905. Hold your heads up high, Raptors Nation. And let's give them a pass for yesterday. Seriously, I know we're pissed because we lost the Nets, and it sucks. But understand just how much they were up against it. And you know what? In some ways, I got to give them a pass. I just have to. And you guys don't have to. You guys can go ahead and be who you want. I'm not trying to control anybody. But if I can be an example to be a little bit more sympathetic and benevolent towards our team, I'll try and do that. All right, guys, have a great day. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., previewing the Raptors against the Miami Heat and also reacting to whatever happens tonight with the finals game against Salt Lake City. Let's go, Raptors 905. And be kind and gentle to those that are tired and weary, is what I would say. That's what I say. Let's go, Raptors 905.